Patrick?
No, we're gonna take a leaf from Elon's book, which is we try and make it open source.
There you
You know,
go.
yeah, it's not
Uh,
about money making; it's sharing the love and work ethic.
Awesome. And make sure you go follow Patrick here. Also, I see Roman and the Impulsor X account as well. Patrick, let's get right into
Sure.
this announcement because I think this was pretty cool to come through. And we covered this last week, but yeah, let's dive into Powercast here.
Sure, let's go.
Awesome. Yeah. So you dropped this last week. This is on
Friday,
Thursday last
I
week,
think.
Friday.
No, I think it was Friday,
Got it.
and we just wanted to make people wait in suspense until Monday today to come on the show and talk to everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. So walk us through who Powercast is, your trip to Pittsburgh, and what kind of parts of the business are they working on?
Okay, so Powercast are a massive company, amazing company, great people, great technology. They're the pioneers of RF technology, one of the three types of power transfer, kind of CPT. So they're founded in 2003, which is obviously 23 years and probably older than a lot of you who are involved in CPT. So that's a good one. They have 300 patents worldwide, and they have to date shipped over 30 million units of their products, mainly in the US. They're a relatively small team, 35 people, if I remember correctly, bunch of engineers starting it, and they don't have, they were obviously at CES. There's a lot of information on them on the internet, on their website, on X, and they've been around the block and really good people to work with. It's my first time to Pittsburgh. That was my first stop after New York, which was the main reason I came. And mission accomplished. So January is a great month. I would also like to announce that this is the biggest announcement that we've done to date. People may not have heard Powercast as a everyday name that they would know because they're not listed. They're a private company and they're very private and subject to NDA and also their NDA. They have so many very big companies as clients that we're not allowed to disclose, but everyone would have heard at least 5-10 of these companies. So in fact, most of you are probably even using some of the products that you don't even know about, right?
Oh, really? Wow.
Kind of like Apple. Apple's not one of the companies that I know, but
can you share what some of those companies might be by chance?
No, and it's better we don't get into
Okay.
legal issues. But later on, once we start selling the products, we can then disclose. So there's a few. I'll let you ask the questions, but just to share, there's a few ways that we're actually working with them. So they have their existing products, which we are their exclusive partner to help them distribute in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, and the Middle East. So obviously Europe with Roman and the Swiss team, they're going to deal with the European side. And then I've been obviously doing a lot of business in the Middle East, Asia, and Africa is also another amazing, huge market. They don't have the bandwidth to do that, so they're relying on us to do it. That's one. Second thing is Impulsor products, which are not Powercast. We would use them as our manufacturer and also to help co-design some of the products, but that will be IP of Impulsor. And then also we would co-develop products together, specifically for the US market. And one of the areas that we will go into would be defense tech, which obviously will be huge. A lot of their focus is more on low-powered RF, which is more consumer living and like less wattage kind of products. So a lot's going to happen with Powercast this year, and we're working behind the scenes already to get this underway.
So just to recap, there's three types of partnership happening here. The first one is you guys acting as kind of a sales front end to some of their existing product lines and then pushing that out beyond the US to the Mideast, Europe, et cetera, where you guys have a footprint. The second one is co-developing IP together, which I don't know if you have any ideas on future products, but is this like, probably not with a LifeFinder one, but are there other products that you might co-develop?
Absolutely. So consumer products will be IoT. There'll be things in the home or in the office that would be very useful. We haven't decided yet, but it'll be things like, charging your electronics or sensors that help detect if your heating has gone up, down, you want to check it, and it'll be done in a very cost-effective solution. So this is not something that you would think, wow, what is it? That this is kind of like what people want, but it's still not a very effective solution yet that people know about. But home solutions, office solutions, anything indoors that we would help to be able to control and regulate and help people, homes, offices save money.
Got it. And then the third one is a manufacturing partner for Impulsor products, which is this the S-Drone and or what?
It won't be the S-Drone because the two types that we will be focusing on will be MagRes and RF. They're not as focused on the optical laser. But that's a conversation that we haven't involved them yet. But if they are creating value and help us in making it better, absolutely yes. So they are one of our partners now.
Got it. And the nature of this opportunity, like, are they the ones that are actually physically with the manufacturing line putting things together, or are they kind of like a step from going from IP and concept to scaled manufacturing, but that scaled manufacturing happens elsewhere? Just give us an idea.
So they have a massive workshop. Don't quote me on this. Maybe it's like 100,000 square feet. It's a big facility, and in Pittsburgh, and they do all the manufacturing there. So because we are relatively new, in order to save time, the bulk of the manufacturing of at least the components will be done in the US first. But ultimately, what we want to do is to have the manufacturing in Switzerland. But we will have different markets like Africa, Asia, Middle East, where probably with joint venture partners, we will have different manufacturing labs facilities in different areas to service the different areas to help us scale much quicker and also to reach the end consumer more quickly as well. I want to share something that's quite interesting. I want to have a recommendation shout out. I gave it to Spicer first, so people don't get jealous.
Shout out Spicer. Great account to follow.
It was one of the things I've been watching over the Christmas period was The Thinking Game. It's on YouTube. It's I think it was in one of the film festivals, and it talks about the journey of Demise, who's the founder of DeepMind. Okay, so they're the guys who started off. The guy's like a whiz kid nerd guy, and obviously went to I think UCL in London, and his whole thesis PhD was intelligence. And this is way before the whole AI stuff. I think it must be like 2010 that he studied. Right, young guy, but very smart. Anyway, so he started DeepMind. Then they did Go, all these like chess games, and then they beat all the champions, and then Google basically bought them, if I remember correctly, $400 million in 2014. And this is quite a journey that we're doing at the same time, which I wanted to show people this strategy, what we're trying to do. So what he did was his thinking is like, hey, I can wait a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. When AI becomes more mainstream, I can make $4, 5, 10, $20 billion in terms of market cap, his share, right? But the guy's not driven by the money. He's a pure scientist who's turned into an entrepreneur. And his whole thing is to try to solve science problems. His whole motivation is not money. And that's why people like this are usually the most successful. Because if you're driven by the money, your head's not in the right place to make things happen, right? Anyway, the point of all this is his thesis and motivation was to get access to Google's data centers, to get Google's compute, to get access to the top software engineers in the world, like that, even though he makes less money. Because he said, why would I wait 10 more years and lose all that time when I can speed up the development of Intelligent? And they become obviously a massive company and under Google, and they've gone from strength to strength. So what I'm saying to everyone here is we will also do something similar where we won't do just an organic growth of just 5 people in Switzerland and just, hey, let's just do the S-Drone. We're going to do a combination of rollouts in various geographical regions where mergers, acquisitions, partnerships like the one in PowerCast. There will be ones in Europe, in Switzerland, the UK, Africa. There's a few countries that we're working on. We have the Caribbean, which are like smaller projects, and then Asia's a huge, and then obviously the Middle East, which have money to provide, and they're trying to get us to open up labs to get us to go over there. But we have to be very strategic because a lot of these grants and labs benefits from the governments per se. They usually expect you to bring or move the whole headquarters there. And I'm not sure if Roman and the professors are willing to move from Geneva in their, fancy cabins to the desert.
Okay, that's yeah. I mean, I think Geneva is a pretty sweet town. You have some great imagery or videos of going through Geneva. So if I can summarize kind of the strategy here is your deal making in these regions around the world. Hey, we have this amazing technology. We have great partnerships to take it from idea, IP to commercialization. We want to partner with I don't want to say Googles of the world, but the large, Honeywells. I mean, I don't know who's in this vertical. That's the big boys, but those type of entities. Hey, we have a new product that you can sell. Is that direction correct?
You're thinking of companies like Samsung, Siemens, Nokia, all the big giant industrial companies that also have consumer and other industrial companies. They're like Honeywell, lots of companies.
Yes, yeah, broadly, like those types. But you're going in those regions where they're based and saying, "Hey, we have these innovative products." Do I have that directionally correct?
No, we're very flexible. I mean, like I'm a deal guy, Josh, right? So I'm bringing in the deal making element to this. So let's say the UAE or Saudi, for instance, I would go there and we will find a local partner. We will get the grants from the local government that helps us to save money, bring in the infrastructure in terms of the office, the labs, the people, the visas, the permits, whatever we need, and then I find a local partner. I don't know what the allocation would be, but let's say it's a 50-50 allocation, but I'd rather make less money more quickly than to wait, oh, let's build our own thing in 5 years' time. Because we want to launch the products and the solutions as soon as possible, and just get the lead in first mover advantage in many regions.
Awesome. And guys, if you have questions, please drop them in the chat or at me on Telegram in the Impulsor chat so I can make sure to get those to Patrick. So we touch everything. Roman, good to see you in the chat there. I love the LOL. Roman, you're always good at leaking information in front of Patrick here live on stream. So keep it up, buddy. We absolutely love it.
Yeah, I'm not very happy with that, Josh. What can you do?
Yeah. Hey, you know, I gotta. Yeah, that's what I can do about that. You know, it is in there. So going into this deal specifically, I don't know if you can touch on at a high level the commercial relationship here. Like, when let's say you're working with a Powercast, you guys co-develop something. Like, what does it look like for that to get to market? Like, what's the timing, commercial relationship? Do they sell them in Walmart's? Like, walk us through what end-to-end kind of how you see, you know, going from product to sale to value coming back to Impulsor, how that looks, or how you foresee that looking.
What's happening very soon on our website, very soon, the F-Drone reservations and pre-orders and some side products will be available very soon. I don't know the exact date. I think Roman's coming on Wednesday. You can ask him when that's ready. The products which are Powercast related, we will be putting on the website either this or next week, so you will be able to see it. I think the question is a bit too general in terms of how it is. There's a lot of products that they sell which you will not see in the shop, for example, let's say iPhone, right? The iPhone or the Samsung Galaxy, and these are not the two products for record purposes, but example is when you go to buy a Samsung or an iPhone, the products that are the chips or the insides of the phone, you will not know that it's Powercast or ABC company. You just see it as iPhone, right? And then the iPhone and Samsungs of this world, they don't want people to know that this is from Powercast, but it's a solution from Apple or Samsung, respectively.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. So in the next couple of weeks, we'll start to see products at least pre-order on Impulsor's website. And I think that closes the loop for a lot of people because it goes from, okay, great idea, you know, great patents, to something that I can purchase that generates revenue. And then it's kind of like, all right, we can follow that product through its life cycle. You now have an army of salespeople that are all aligned with you in terms of your holder base who may be customers themselves to try these products out, but also might try and help open doors for you guys. So really excited to see that. And
yeah, so I think, you know, one thing that I really want to do, I think there's some conversations from some holders, the community, even like Meteora. And this is something that I want to actually touch upon today. And I'd love to get actually comments from people how we should do this together, because I haven't figured it out how this should be done. And I've talked about this a lot, even before the launch of SOAR, Impulsor, and everything, which is this is something. The conversion of Web 2 to Web 3 is something that we're trying to bridge, right? And one thing that we want to do is a lot of the crypto guys involved in the trading, whether it's Bitcoin, the stables, or the meme coins in this particular case, right? People just want to make money, right? And they want to make money fast, and they're willing to take risks. But a lot of the time, there's no fundamental value, i.e. utility in a coin or anything else, and that's part of the problem, right? So people are chasing for something which doesn't really exist or has any use, and it's only of value because it's making money, right? As soon as people start dumping, then the thing drops and everyone loses money, right? The thing is with this, it's like a stock like Microsoft or Nvidia or Nintendo. These companies have been in existence for a long time. They're making money, and the share price is reflected by what they do in the real world, which is selling as many phones and computers or whatever the products they do. And that's in the Web 2 space and the general finance perspective, which is what we're doing. And I think people misunderstand and don't understand where is this reflected in the coin price. That's why a lot of us internally on SOAR and even a lot of the holders, they believe that we're very undervalued, and 100% of the case, yes, right? But because we're a bit longer term, I'm not looking to sell anything and so forth. So as a result, we are focused on creating the business and making sure the business is successful. And if the business is successful, the value, i.e. money, will come naturally afterwards. So I don't care if the price is $2, 20 cents, 2 cents. It doesn't affect us because we're just keeps building, producing, and once we have the products being sold, So one of the key messages I want to do is we want to, as Jurgen Klopp says of Liverpool, my team, is we want to turn the doubters into believers. And I don't really care what people think because that doesn't affect where we're going. If people want to join, excellent. If people don't, wait and see. So the next point is as soon as we start selling these RF and MagRes products, which are PowerCast and or PowerCast Impulsor branded, we will start having revenues, and then we can start telling people that we've actually started to sell these products, right? And as a result, after that, is that shows you what the result is instead of just a dumb little beam coin which has no use, and then the guys just disappear, right? Second thing is also with me myself personally is the credibility and my personal reputation is that this is something that has become a challenge that we want to bridge this, and this is something that we are slowly breaking down the barrier, and we will get there, and it's just a matter of weeks, months, and we will get there. And that's why we're very confident that this will do very well, and we're super excited.
I want to give a shout out to Dom, who posted this, I believe, this morning. But this basically speaks to what you're talking about. So,
yes,
seeing CPT as a very desirable trade for patient investors. People are generally too lazy to understand the model, referring to Soar's DRP model, leaving Impulsor at a pretty egregious discount. Not only are they lazy, but as we can see with the Axiom, it wasn't even popping up on screeners where the traders are. And then he says, I'm confident, and these are Dom's words, I'm confident Impulsor Tech could raise at a $50 to $100 million valuation based on its patents, partnerships, contract sector, management team, et cetera. The defense tech industry is trading at a significant premium, something that I covered on MCG a couple of weeks ago, yet CPT is lagging. And basically until these are fully solved in terms of tokens will trade at a huge fatal discount to their equivalent equity. I think what we're talking about here is just the ownership token kind of, let's say, problem or, dynamic. Basically what you're saying, Patrick, is there is 99.9999% of stuff out there on Solana that's based on trading, financial applications, speculation, meme coins, et cetera. All these narratives, you name the narrative, but there's only one defense tech company or one, wireless power transfer company or one building physical products that you can go on a website and buy that have large scalable, addressable markets. What happens then is like, if there's only one of those and there's hundreds of thousands of other tokens that have no value, will you see this kind of, disconnect or whatever, I don't want to say frenzy, but speculation on that one company? Is this kind of what we're talking about? Is just that there's supply and demand of good quality companies out there and not a lot of supply of them. And Impulsor seems to be kind of the only one doing defense tech on Solana. Do I'm directionally kind of close on that?
Okay, so another thing that I want to talk about is we will end up having 4 or 5 different silos. One of them is consumer tech, which is the IoT stuff. We have aerospace, we have emergency services, and then the last one, which will be the big one, will be defense tech. And defense tech, what Dom was saying is totally correct. Now, if you look at Wall Street, there's like 5 or 6 companies that people know the names of, and people are jumping on it, kind of like SpaceX, right? So SpaceX is the most prominent space company, right, that people know about and people want, that they're doing like an 800 billion raise right now, placement, and it's just oversubscribed. And the same thing with the defense tech. There's only 5, 6 notable companies, but there's actually lots of companies out there in the US and outside where there's value, but they don't have like the celebrity name yet. And as soon as they do, these companies will all add value and do very well. The amount of money that the US, Europe, China, all the different countries that, the world's very volatile right now, defense tech the next 5-10 years is huge. And people are throwing money at it from a government and investment standpoint. So that's a direction that we are pivoting towards. We haven't talked too much about it because we're still in the process of finalizing where and what the products shall be. That will obviously be another MCG exclusive. But let's talk about a little bit about PowerCast. They've sold 30 million units to date. And those 30 million units are only in the US. They haven't sold elsewhere. That's where we come in, right? And if you look at our average price is somewhere around $820. I don't think we're going to sell 30 million quickly, but imagine we just sell 1,000, 10,000, 50,000 products, and we're doing like $100 in Africa. We're talking Europe, Middle East, and Asia. So the numbers are going to be very good for our first 1 or 2 years. That's one. Now, if you look at IoT, right, the stats are basically saying by 2034, there's going to be 1 trillion IoT devices. 1 trillion. We only need to do like $1 each, right? And the thing is, these things needs to be not only powered, but imagine like how many batteries we're saving from doing this.
Yeah.
So just that market itself, and that's not even defense tech, that's just IoT, and that's Powercast's specialty.
Got it. And this is their founder and CEO here, Charles. Is this who you met with in Pittsburgh? Maybe talk a
No,
bit about their management even.
Yeah, so Charles is I didn't meet Charles. He was on a business trip, but he's the CEO, and he's the finance guy. I met the other Charlie, who's the CTO and one of the original founders. So he's like the Steve Jobs of the company. And then I met the sales director, Alan, who's a really, really cool guy. A bit of a older gentleman, but he has more energy than a 20-year-old. Amazing guy. The place is like a little family. And Pittsburgh, I've never been and enjoyed going there. Very a lot of history, you know, the industrial steel,
Yes.
big in football, and then I think the Steelers lost the night before, so somebody told me you shouldn't mention the football thing, and then the first thing when I saw them, I told them, oh, I think the Steelers lost, right? So anyway, they took it with a pinch of salt, so that was a good icebreaker.
Yeah, I my family actually lived in Pittsburgh for almost a decade. Loved the Yinslers in Pittsburgh, and just a great city, and all crazy Steelers and Penguins fans too. Shout out Sidney Crosby; they're huge hockey fans too. So very cool. And these are the gentlemen here that
Yes.
you had mentioned.
So the one in the middle is Charlie, who's the CTO, and the one on the left is Alan, who's the sales director.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And so maybe from their end, like they look at Impulsor as a great partner because of your relationships and access to other parts of the world. Like, what gets them excited about working with Impulsor?
One is they trust who we are. Roman's been having long conversations for them even before we started. So Roman has a very good relationship with them, and they know what we're doing. They know the people that we're working with, and they just want to focus on the US market and get us to help with the rest of the world. So it's great that they have so much trust in us, and it's just very happy with the result.
Awesome. I think that is most of the questions I specifically had. I don't know if you have anything else that you would like to kind of.
I want to rattle up some numbers.
Let's do it.
So the market size right now for RF CPT right now as of today is 1.3 trillion.
That's huge.
By 2035, it's going to be 5.34 trillion, and some predict it's going to be over 11 trillion. With the way that the world is moving now, with wars, AI, the compute, the energy demands, I think the number is going to be bigger than that. I think it's going to be $15-20 trillion, and that's huge globally, right? And then things like transportation, logistics, which Tim is involved. We have real-time tracking, the position, temperature, which will be more effective than what they have now. They already have this technology. Another big thing is smart city. Smart city is a buzzword, but in places like Africa and third world developing countries, smart cities is when a piece of ground which is empty, there's not much there, they completely revamp the whole thing. So data collection, optimization of systems for like waste management, the grids, smart meters, smoke detectors, all this requires these sensors and other parts, which we will hope to get the business of. And this is like city by city, country by country, and that's huge.
Yeah, agreed.
We haven't even talked about AI alignment yet. So AI is not our core business. AI will only help after you've extracted the data. So let's say the temperature. So we'll be able to figure out that, you know, the fire alarm before it goes off and it's not working and so on. So all that will be powered by the AI to help you alert if anything needs to be done. And then there's like industrial uses such as like building management, warehouse, and of course safety, right? And then lastly but not least is like databases, like in emergency situations, then the RF or the MagRes is able to help power if there's any kind of like blowout and they lost power, because batteries obviously run out. Wires could be a problem, but we're able to solve that. So there's lots of use cases here, and with Powercast's help, we're able to solve a lot of them.
All right. My second half is back.
Boom. Second half. Wow, this is like, that's what I call my girlfriend and stuff. So I'm just the second half.
Yes, professionally second half, I guess.
No.
Yeah, I didn't realize yesterday was MLK Day in the US, right? That's why US markets were closed.
Yeah, MLK Day. Yeah. I think some like universities take off. I don't think anyone really takes off outside of financial institutions, banks, and schools. But yeah, MLK Day was yesterday. So Shout out the king, man, Martin Luther.
That's right. And the markets were closed, which they are getting absolutely dusted this morning. Let's break right into it.
Yeah.
What do
Yep.
we
Yep. Yep.
got?
Yep.
I mean, these markets are going to be impossible to trade. I think geopolitically, it's a toss up on any given day. But
Do you want me to just pad over there?
let's get it.
Yeah, I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head here. It's they're just difficult to trade until we get like geopolitically, you're right. Let's be honest. As long as Trump's in office, dropping these tariffs, I don't know if erratic's the right word, but it's a little erratic. You don't know when it's going to happen. These tariffs drop, and all of a sudden, Bitcoin's right there dropping with it. So it is difficult. Still, I am in the boat where we have the catch-up trade with Bitcoin. I just think we need this to clear. Once we get the geopolitical tensions cleared up, I think Bitcoin follows last year's price action with basically everything else. So I'm still in that boat, but we got to get past this. And I've been saying that though for the last year, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
down 2.5% on the day.
Yeah,
for Bitcoin.
Not fun, especially as it felt like we were starting to find some sort of floor here and a little momentum to the upside. It's just like
Definitely.
Something that probably didn't need to happen. Just bam, another slap in the face on a Friday. But anyways, tough. What can you do?
It's like forced selling. It's unnatural price action. They say news and geopolitics are just an excuse for banks and institutions and, smart money, big money to get price exactly where it was going, just at a faster rate. And so, maybe this is speeding up the process, although it feels like it's been pretty slow and pretty dragged out for a long time. So I don't know.
You like that
yeah.
green area? I mean, do you think that green area holds? Like, how should people think about positioning right now?
How do I think people should think about positioning right now? I mean, yeah, I don't really have a solid answer. I would say this was the range. This price action was really good in here. I like the ascending wedge is what some people called it. I call it type 2. We've discussed this at length. But right here now, I mean, we did get a close, I guess, a solid close above, these ranges, but it didn't hold very long. I would have liked it to hold at least 1 or 2 or 3 more days up here rather than just the 1 day close to, I guess you could say it did kind of close for 4 days, but that's over the weekend as well. So hard to kind of count that. Maybe if I go over here to this, yeah. So this looks, no. I'm still in crypto. If I go over to the Bitcoin chart here, yeah. So the weekend I wouldn't really count much, but it doesn't look great. I would say, going back to my other chart here, I would say if we get back in this range down here, I would maybe be looking for something like that, but I would need to see price action. And again, this is where you get a little more technical, but I'd have to go down to like the 1 hour and just see how we react from, this whole range right here, basically. So something down here into like the 86 area is where I would be looking again for reversals. And again, I'd be monitoring that. So that's not like a hard stop loss or anything. On the other note, again, this could look like a continue of the distribution, right? So if you're looking at Bitcoin from a higher time frame, maybe you think this was the bull market and Bitcoin was the only thing that ran. And now this was maybe the cycle top. You got your distribution here, which I guess I'll mark out for sake of the conversation. Got your distribution here, here. And this was maybe the up thrust, right? The UTAD, up thrust after distribution. That was basically the last point of the distribution. And now we're going to the downside. And then this could be looked at like a redistribution, right? And a continuation of this trend to go further down. So maybe this is a redistribution and this was your up thrust after distribution. And now we're going to go down here, maybe into this zone, which I've marked out as a very strong zone. We saw we were in this range for at least 177 days of accumulation here. So I feel like this is very strong. I'd be interested to watch that zone further. And also maybe I would think like, even if we do get a bear market, probably the low of the bear market, it's previous all-time highs of the previous bull market. It's a nice long accumulation range. And so typically we see that's where price retests for bull markets or bear markets in the past is the very top of the previous cycle's bull market. and you can go back and continue to play this off. So we'll see. I would say absolute worst case, I think like this is the bottom. I'm definitely a buyer as soon as we get back down into like the sub 60, sub 70 range. Although I'm not confident we get there. So definitely a buyer sub 70. And I don't mean to keep this on going for too long, but definitely a buyer sub 70. And maybe if we get another dip here into this range and the price action makes sense, I'm a buyer. If we get a dip further, into this range and the reaction is nice as well from here, we get a nice spring out of there. I would say, well, maybe I was wrong about this being a type 2, still an accumulation, but maybe a type 1. And this is the final sweep right here. Spring, everyone gets filled, the institutions get filled, and then they continue with bull market. So those are like the two ways I could see it going with Bitcoin. I know it's not really definitive, but that's how I'm looking at it. King says 85K incoming. Yeah, I mean it's possible. It's definitely possible. Definitely possible. So that's Bitcoin. I guess we could check out. And by the way, good morning, Kings. Good morning. Thanks for joining up as always from YouTube, man. Always count on Kings to be here.
I got the next piece.
Yeah. Do you want me to just real quick run through Ethan Solana just to see what that looks like?
Yeah.
Keep it short. Same thing on ETH. I would say maybe more so expecting the sweep on ETH. I would say the price action is not quite as good as Bitcoin. Back into this zone, this reaccumulation zone here. Yeah, I would say one last sweep does make sense, possibly. And Solana, let's see. Solana is taking a plunge, basically erased everything it made over the last 3 weeks. All the gains it made have been erased now. So I would say Solana still in a pretty good area. This seemed like the sweep to me back here. We swept out a lot of liquidity. We've been in this range forever, and this kind of made it move up. Although I wouldn't trust this too much because it essentially failed, right? So with things like this, when you get a spring, you want to say cause. You want to look for the cause and effects. What's the cause, right? And you can look at volume. You can look at price action for that. And then what's the effect? Well, this is the spring. This is a cause. The effect. Well, there was no effect. It didn't make new all-time highs. Like nothing was achieved from this. And so I would call this a pretty weak zone to look for, to look out from for anything. But I do like this as a spring. So that's Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana. Josh, I'll let you pivot to the next segment.
Yeah, and a piece of good news. We have Alan here and Pump announcing Pump Fund, not Pump Fund, Pump Fund. We're investing projects at a $10 million valuation. It doesn't mean that the projects have to hit that milestone on chain, which I thought was interesting. For the hackathon, we're considering existing and future projects, so it doesn't necessarily mean to be a specific eco. Ansem kind of thinking this is kind of interesting. Here's the eligibility requirements. Launch a token, build a project, own at least 10% of the token supply, build in public, doing all the things, and then the form. So if that's you, go check it out. 250K, 10 mil valuation. They don't really care about the valuation, but I think what this is just seeding different builders in the ecosystem and having a stake in them. Any thoughts, Dom?
Definitely have thoughts. I was obviously looking out for this. It's a nice initiative. We're seeing this initiative across the board for all the launch pads, really. We see, I guess you could say Street even has their scout program. Pump Fund has this program. We saw Bags just drop their hackathon, $1 million hackathon. We see Surge, which is another launch pad that's launching very soon that I'm going to cover later. They're doing a $1 million program like this as well. So it's kind of becoming the standard. I think it's positive, moving in the right direction. Let's give builders something, give builders reason to come to your launch pad, right? Almost think about this like an incubator, right? Venture capital. We talk about this all the time, how quality of money is more important than quantity of money in most cases. And I think same thing kind of goes for launch pads. Quality of launch pad is oftentimes maybe more important than, quantity of launch pads, the one that's maybe getting the most launches. And so the truth is, if Pump Fund can offer enough incentive, hey guys, here's AI credits, here's this, this, and this. We also have funds for our people. Whatever it is, we offer stuff similar to how VCs offer incubated projects. Launchpads to offer this stuff too. deployers to make it a little more enticing to deploy. And so I think this is a step in the right direction for everyone. Of course, Launchpad just happens to have, a couple $1 billion they can throw towards this. And so 10 million is kind of like a drop in the bucket for them, but it's a great move.
Yep.
Yes, Ave. ICM staking went live. We will cover it. I'm not sure if it's number 1 on our docket, but we will cover it for sure.
Nope. Really quick, do you want to get the Trove situation out of the way?
Let me finish on Pump Fund real quick. Then we can definitely talk about Trove next. So this is also on the Pump Fund thing, which is really interesting because they have the $3 million fund that they're investing at a $10 million valuation, they said, and this has been what the community is talking about. Well, none of the projects that are really in contention here are valued at $10 million. I think you said it best, Josh. The answer is they don't really care, I think, about long-term investments. They care about getting their people funds. And you can even see Elon in the comments. I'm going to tab back over here to Pump Fund post originally. Or maybe they didn't post it. Maybe Elon posted it. So let me tab over here.
Zoom that if you can.
I will. Yeah, maybe it was on this here. So, okay, I'm having trouble finding it. Nonetheless, the crux is that people were asking Elon, hey, $10 million valuation. A lot of these projects, like the contenders, aren't even sitting at $10 million market caps. We see Me is at 3, Monero Chain's at 2, Zeoth is at 2.8, Dreams is at 10.3. Mobi's at 3.6, Codex at 4.4. A lot of these are well under the $10 million mark, and people weren't understanding it. But Elon made it very clear. He's not looking for equity. He's looking for OTC deals, mainly for tokens. So they do want to do tokens, and they want to do it OTC rather than buying off the market so that these teams can get the actual funding, the physical funding. Buying from the market doesn't really give the team any funding outside of the fees it maybe generates, which is, a lot less than they would if they got a $250,000 cash injection for OTC deal. So that's what the Pump Fund team's looking for. I think Josh nailed it on the head. They're not really looking to profit off of this. I think they're looking to grow their Launchpad ecosystem. But AJC he's from Masari, made a very good point. Like, lots of these aren't at $10 million. So they're going to get a pretty heavy overvaluation in terms of what the fair market value is according to the current charts.
Bullish. I think that's pretty great for those builders. I'll tab over to this Trove situation. Another advertisement for ownership coins. Devs ran an ICO and Hyperliquid, smashed their 2.5 million target, raised over 11 million. Then without warning, they launched the token on Solana instead and kept all the funds. No refunds, nothing. Token went live immediately, dumped 95% in minutes. FTV crashed from 20 million to 1 million. Classic exit liquidity scam. They were worse. A bunch of big KOLs were paid to shill it without disclosure. Whales swoosh alone. So unfollow this person if you do follow this person. Pocketed 8K for pumping it. Zach XBT dug up receipts showing ICO money funneled straight into their pockets. Guys, I think, I said this yesterday. Ownership tokens. Go buy things that have legal obligations to them. I think that's the only way we solve this problem, is there has to be consequences for this type of absolute clown behavior. This cannot happen.
Yeah, so there was a lot here to digest. There was KOLs getting paid a ton. I think the KOLs were also private investors in much of the case here. We saw Hyperliquid, I think, gave them a grant of some sort, which they then used to also sell because they didn't end up going with Hyperliquid. Also, like the Trove platform, it's an RWA platform that does, I would say, more exotic RWAs, fractionalized Pokemon cards. We've seen it done quite a few times. I personally was not very impressed with Trove. And of course, it's so easy for me to come on here and say this in hindsight. But truthfully, when Trove was gearing up for the ICO, and we were in like ICOs, and we had Ranger ICOing, we had Trove ICOing, along with some other ones on like Binance and other stuff. I was like, this is just not interesting. We've seen it done so many times, and right now there's no market for fractionalized ownership of RWAs, truthfully, or the exotic RWAs. And I had a great conversation with a friend of the show earlier today. We were talking about this specifically. It was like, RWA is the future. The issue is 0 to 1 is so difficult. Until people start adopting it, until people start trusting these protocols, it's going to get very little traction. But it's one of those switches that kind of flips. Once people do trust it, once people start seeing the yields good, they can trade to liquid markets. It's like a domino falls. And I think that's when you see institutions flood in to take advantage of some of the yield you get on this stuff. Nonetheless, not a shill for Trove at all, because I was actually very unimpressed by Trove. It's like, okay, here we go, another platform fractionalizing a Pokemon card, another platform fractionalizing, collectibles. It's just uninteresting.
Uninteresting.
But they managed to get a lot of funding and run away with it. So, and I also think, like they said, they're going to keep. I was hearing some people say, well, they're going to refund. I think they're keeping all of that money, buddy.
They're like, thanks for showing up.
Yeah.
A little look, that's a bad look on Hyperliquid a little bit, to not have the due diligence here in place. I mean, people trust their DD on this kind of process. If you're giving grants out and supporting stuff, it's got to be a little tighter, or else you're just using your community for exit liquidity. So, yeah, they need to do that. I do have a couple things. I want to talk Bags app, but I want to talk in the context of guests that we have on tomorrow, because we have a couple Bags projects on tomorrow, Dom. So I don't know if you had any specific Bags app things to share.
I do. I had a whole little thought process here. I'm not sure if we had time. Also, we didn't watch the Pump Fund little video announcing their builder hackathon. Do we want to watch that real quick? It's like a 1-minute video. It's pretty funny. Okay, then I will get that shared up real quick.
We like funny videos here.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with my co-fucker to proudly announce that we have raised $15 billion. We plan to invest those $15 billion into young founders, just to fuck them over and dump on retail when we exit. Oh, and good luck ever getting a hold of us unless you're real.
Dude, this is absolutely the model.
Yeah, here we can even if you want to pause on some of these numbers real quick too. So tokenize it, 10% ownership minimum required, 30-day application window. Build it. Download Pump on mobile app, share it. That's what I want to see here. Oh, come on.
It's all right. I think all that information is in the and Pump Fund advisory. That's interesting. That's the spotlight thing, I think, that they're talking about. But guys, look, this overall, look, private companies, early stage founders, they're going to come on chain. They're going to raise a little bit of capital, prove out their model, have a token day one. This is the future, guys. 100%.
This is the future. Remind me, we have Moby at 12:30, then Rain after that. We're going to have probably a little bit of time because I think Moby's just giving a quick update. Do we want to hold off on going into detail on some of the deeper stuff right now, or do we want to just
yeah
jump?
I think one that we can show maybe is the Avicii thing that I quickly had because I want a clean clip for this because I thought this was pretty amazing. So Timmy Tough right here. Still feels like I'm dreaming, but this just happened. I used the Avicii money off ramp, IBAN, SEPA in my Avicii app to purchase a $160,000 car in Germany. Instant settlement, €1 fee, current rate, euro, US dollar, not sponsored, just genuinely a great product. Welcome, Avicii Porsche. Beautiful car, by the way. I think this is really cool. But again, this is good validation to the Avicii product and good endorsement. So I thought this was worthy of sharing.
That's pretty cool. let's see. Actually, the markets are taking a bit of a nuke. Let's see how Avicii's holding. Yeah, Avicii is holding up well, and I'll just tab to a chart of that to further add to this.
Right, here's the further proof right here. This is the transaction in his wallet. So really cool. And yeah, let's get to that chart.
That's pretty crazy. Wow. Yeah, so everything's down, but Avicii here on the daily, on the 4 hours, is pumping. It's pretty crazy that they're facilitating that seamlessly. I wonder what the fees were like. I don't know. Compared to, they got to run that side by side. They should quote tweet that or use that in an article and run some numbers side by side. How much would this have costed using Coinbase? How much would this have cost using, whatever competitors, right? And I think that's probably a pretty good test case. I'm assuming that their fees and time, etc., was just all quicker. But yeah, so you can see Avicii here. I mean, looking good. 45 million market cap. Everything kind of took a big nuke. I think this flush right here was from some dude full stacking like 150K, if I remember hearing that correctly. And so it bounced pretty quickly off of that. Let me see, what kind of limits did people have limits hit? How long was it down there? Yeah, so it was down there for very shortly. I mean, look,
bullish.
What market cap would this have been? This went down to 35 million. It's back at 45 now. So it's I mean, quickly up a good 25%, assuming you got filled, at 35, 36 million. But bullish, yeah. So that's Avicii looking good. Yeah, looking good.
Maybe run ICM until Mateus joins.
Cool. And then for you guys, I guess future after we'll have Moby, then I'll run another segment. And then we'll do Rainmaker after that. We'll have them on cover updates. By the way, been crushing. But I got a couple things to go through. Had a great conversation with Profit on Twitter about just the bag apps and the mechanisms there, which we'll cover. I want to talk about Surge, this new launchpad. It's very exciting from what I've seen. So we'll talk about that too, get into it. There's a great article by Zinc that we'll read through. Fitcoin has had some updates. Mercy obviously just dropped this ICM.run staking, which has been long awaited. So we'll talk about all that stuff. In the meantime, we'll do the ICM staking since Ave suggested it here. But we can watch this little video. I don't think it's very much other than a little animation here. But ICM staking went live.
Put the money in the machine. Oh, get money out. I love it.
Yeah, so simple. Let's just read through here. I'll zoom in.
And we got a Mateus when you're done this segment.
No worries. Let's do it. So staking plus USDC streaming is live on ICM. Now we remember Mercy had made it very clear that he wants programmatic distribution for holders rather than a buyback. That's kind of what they settled on. And so, because again, buying back the ICM token is just buying back more token that's just later going to be distributed to people based on your pro rata holding. So it made a little less sense to do it that way for them. So staking plus USDC streaming is live on ICM. Staking overview, how ICM staking works. You can stake ICM directly on our website at ICM.run via the stake section in the top right. Lockup on stake. When you stake ICM, a 1-month lockup is applied. During this period, you cannot request to unstake. Read more below, and we'll just read through this real quick. Let's see. Rewards token. Rewards are flexible. Main emission right now is USDC. How rewards are distributed. Rewards are distributed pro rata based on how much ICM you have staked relative to the total pool. Very simple. We've seen this a million times. A reward smoothing mechanism. Fees arrive irregularly from sources like Fair, etc. To keep rewards predictable, a contract averages all rewards received over the past 30 days. This is a good move here. Basically, if they make 100 SOL in on one day, they're going to average that out over 30 days. So that way it's predictable. Example here, if over the last 30 days, the pool received 30 SOL, it all converts to USDC on receivable. Then each day, a total of 1 SOL worth of USDC is distributed. So you can see it here. Claiming rewards. You can claim your accrued rewards at any time daily. No need to wait for the end of the month. Unstaking rules. After the initial 1-month lockup ends, you may request to unstake your ICM. Your shares of the pool. If your staking was 10%, we understand how this works. So I'm not going to get into that again. The cooldown period, something you guys want to know as well. Once you have unstaked, there is a 2-week cooldown before you actually get your ICM back. So just take note of that. Yeah, I think that summarize it. You can go look at a image here that kind of breaks it down a little bit more, everything that there is to it. But great tweet. We're glad that's out there. Mercy said with staking now live, it's our turn to really show everyone what they've been incubating. So we know Fair.club from Studhome right here is just the start. It's one of, I think, 3 they've already mentioned that are going to be contributing to this reward pool. So ultimately, it's very interesting. You know, we see people bid up launch pads, platforms, like whatever it may be, to pretty high valuations. I mean, obviously, depending on how good they are. ICM.run is incubating quite a few, at least 3 that we know of. So assuming 1, 2, all 3 of those are successful, that's going to be a decent chunk of revenue flowing back to ICM.run. So interesting to see this at 1.2 million here. But nonetheless, I digress. We will talk now about Moby, which has been really interesting on a tear. One of the projects we talk about often, just here we got Mateus up here, iterating constantly. Mateus, welcome. I'm so impressed. We talk to you guys closely. Obviously, sponsor of the shows. We're so grateful for you guys. We love your trading app. We love the mobile app, which has been released. But your team iterates quick. And you guys can go and find that out yourself, even if you don't have the mobile app, by just looking on their Twitter. I mean, it's a new update like every 2 days, like 3 days. They got something new coming out. And we got Mateus on here maybe to talk a little bit about all the updates we haven't covered since the last time you were on here, and specifically this new clipping feature, which is so cool. I was just on my phone earlier today, and I'll pull up so you guys can see, and there's clips, of course, on Twitter we'll go through. But it's literally like a TikTok for creators. You literally just scroll through and you have these clips that are taken. You can see people talking about them, their tokens. And what's really cool is it actually even shows the tokens referenced. Shows the token reference you can click on. So let's talk about this. I think it's a cool update, as an interesting layer to the mobile app. But Mateus, how have you been, man? How you doing?
Everything's great, man. Mobile app is crushing it. I think like 2 categories for us to discuss today definitely are, you know, all the updates on the app, and then definitely want to talk about, you know, Moby token and kind of like what we see the future looking like, and kind of our plans there, because I do think that's important, and have a lot of thoughts on that as well. On the mobile app side, we couldn't be more excited with the way things are going. Tons of new users are joining the app every single day. And I think one of the key feedback points that we get from users is they come onto the app and, you know, they say they've never used a mobile wallet that feels like Moby. Everything about it is different and designed to put you in the best position to win. And literally every single day we're getting countless DMs. You know, got a DM from a user today, you know, first time they ever had, you know, a 30K win in their trading career, happened on Moby last week. And I think it's really about the fact that we've optimized the app to be the best way to discover coins and act quickly. And I think this clip component ties into like a broader theme of what we're starting to do with the product, where, you know, step 1 was elite, incredibly fast discovery. Now what we're starting to move into is context around what you're looking at. So the first release we did last week in regards to this was the AI insights. They're incredibly great. I'm honestly very impressed. Like, I just go into the app, I'll see a random coin, have no idea what the coin does or why it's moving in our about section, break down the coin perfectly. And we did that by building out a system that uses a number of data sources, including X. So we built out a pretty sleek algorithm to identify key things to look for and to do a 0 to 1 breakdown of the narrative of the coin natively in the app. And now you pair this with the clips, which is about keeping your pulse on broader market narratives, right? So you kind of have like this 1-2 punch where the AI insights on the coin page explain to you what the coin is specifically about, what the coin is doing. The clip section is bringing in clips from great creators like yourself to give you a broader understanding on whether it's product specific, token specific, or just general market commentary. And you can just scroll through those clips. So, you know, I like to like start my day by going to the clip section and just scroll through all the new ones. And it kind of gives me a pulse as to, you know, what are like the trending clips in, you know, modern markets on X. But the pipeline behind the product, you know, we're really excited about what's taking place. You know, you have that early discovery, you have the context, and you have the content. And the idea is to put you in the best position to identify those things and be able to act quickly, you know, one tap trade in the app based on what you learned. So yeah, in that regard, everything's growing incredibly quick. We keep hitting, you know, new all-time highs in volume. And I think it's really because we're building a product that helps people achieve their goals in the market as efficiently as possible. And that's our continued vision.
Yeah, this is really interesting. We've seen a lot of social platforms. We had Farcaster for a while, some other social platforms that try to make like a financial hub for crypto and finance specifically. What do you think the missing component from some of those apps was? What you guys have? Is it the built-in trading features you guys have? Is it the AI insights? I don't know. What's the difference that makes this integration of the clips maybe more long-lasting and impactful than some of the other people that tried to do it in the past?
Yeah, I think for us, a key focus is to reduce noise. And I think when you go too much into social-fi, it becomes very noisy. And we understand from what our users tell us, like the bread and butter of the app is the discovery algorithm, right? Pointing you in the direction as quickly as possible, whether it's a new asset, whether it's an asset that is retracing inside a support level, it's an asset that's getting bid up by new KOLs, it's an asset that's seeing large DCA from notable whales. We use smart money to drive our discovery. Everything is powered by smart money, right? The social elements we're adding now, whether it's the AI insights, which leverage social data on X, or the clips, is to provide more content around what the asset is and what you're actually looking at, but be very focused and driven as to why we're doing that, right? And the reason we're doing that is if you have a good base of education, whether it's around the broader market or around a specific asset, you're going to feel more confident when you make that investing decision. And I think a lot of apps, they overcomplicate it with too many tools and too much information. And I think a lot of those social-fi apps, you're seeing just a feed of this person did this trade, this person did that trade. And it's like, okay, that's all great, but where's the alpha, right? So with the clips thing, we're being very specific about the streamers that we're whitelisting, right? You guys are one of the whitelisted streamers. So we're not just like letting anybody's clips come into the app. We're actually doing a lot of due diligence on our side, looking at a ton of streamers and trying to figure out, okay, who is on the cutting edge of breaking down events, tokens, projects, themes in the market that provide you with the information to better yourself as an investor. And if that box is checked, then we whitelist that account for clips. So the end game for the product, and something we focus on every single day, is we want to ensure that everything we add to the product makes you a better investor. If it doesn't, then we're not including that. And I think the very strategic clip content does help, because one of the big trends on crypto Twitter over the past week has been the X algo changing. And it's becoming harder to find these clips that generate alpha, that educate you. And now you have that opportunity curated for you natively in our app.
Yeah, this was one of the big things we staked our show reputation on, was that people, instead of tweeting out updates, that they would come onto streams like this and talk about it live, because then the algorithm, and I mean the algorithm from the trading bot side, the quick click traders, they didn't get access to it. It was the true core community that could actually be on live like they are right now, listening to you talk, and they're hearing this information first and then can make a decision. This is the same kind of thing. It's like you're in trading, you see, a clip in your feed, it popped up 1 minute ago, you tap, listen to it, you're like, oh shoot, the market doesn't realize that, tap the token, boom, place a bid. Like this is brilliant. You're the only ones to do this. I don't think anyone else has done this.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And I feel like that's a common theme we hear from people when they try the app for the first time, is it doesn't feel like anything else you've used. And we're seeing that in the data, right? People come onto the Moby mobile app and they don't leave. They only increase their activity. And I think it's because of those features that you just mentioned there, where you're not getting that type of alpha and insight from any other product, and we're giving it to you in real time across the board, whether it's from the smart money stuff to the content stuff. And we're going to keep on doing that.
And I see that gas token. Sorry, Dom, I just have one more final thought on this. Like the gas token example is great, because in the thing he's streaming and the candles down, and the first thing everyone does when they see some sort of move in their portfolio to the upside downside is they're always trying to find context. They're like, why is this happening? Right? So they're going through X and, okay, I got to read like this. No, it's like, here's a 30-second little segment from a stream like this that says, oh, there was an announcement, or there was some sort of market event, or some rug happened, and here's why it happened. So it's good this is great context. Everyone should go use this feature. Go click clips, go watch stuff in real time every morning when you wake up. Go watch those clips.
Yeah. So the AI Insights leverage, one of those data sources that it leverages is X. So when you go to our AI Insights in the app on every token detail page, if you go to the about or the why it's moving is only available for certain trending tokens. It changes, but we actually link to the specific X posts that help generate that information. So you get that exact real-time context you're talking about. You know, why is it down? Why is it up? And then I think what you just stated there about the gas token, what we have on the screen here, it's a perfect example. The other thing that we do too with these clips, which is helpful, like you pointed out, is we link directly to the token. So you don't need to look for the CA. You don't need to try to figure out what they're talking about. You can literally watch the clip, click into the token, and trade it. And I think like that flow is incredibly powerful. And we're also taking a bet that we think there's going to be a lot more popular streams that come online, and we're going to be able to leverage this tool for them.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And another thing on the clipping aspect is just, it's such a good way to get distribution. I feel like you offer up a few things, right? You can bring people articles, long form content, you can shill in theses, but the truth is these clips with these quick little descriptions, they really do a good job of catching people's attention and giving them just enough to be like, wait a minute, this is actually something I'm interested in. People are so lazy within crypto that if you don't bring it to them on a silver platter, you know, much of the time they won't actually, it won't lead to any volume actually going into the token or any buys happening.
People would have got our rain or our Vici clips, our rain clips. Like we had rain at 400K. It's now $23 million. So they would have seen those clips on Mobi if this was live like 6 months ago, but also a Vici at $4 million. So there's, for us, it's like some sort of, I don't want to say receipts, but we do look to have some receipts for when founders come on. People can then see the kind of chronological timeline. Now, within the token page, do you have the ability? I couldn't find clips within the token page. It's only within the clip segment.
Yes, that's going to be the next release.
Okay.
You'll actually go to a token page and you'll have all the clips related to that token, which will be really exciting. And I think also too, things move so fast in markets nowadays. I feel like after COVID, things just changed. TradFi and in crypto. Things move so fast. There's thousands of coins being launched per day. It is a full-time job to stay up to date with all of these things that are happening.
Yeah.
And that's a huge motivation behind a lot of the features we add to the product is to save you time, right? To make your time as efficient as possible and give you the information that you need in that moment to, you know, make an investment decision.
And so to upload a video, obviously you only have whitelisted accounts right now because you're trying to keep that noise, no noise, just high alpha dense clipping. We obviously are whitelisted. So how do we do this, right? We make a good clip. Do we just go in the comments and we tag add Mobi clips and it just.
So it's interesting. So anybody can actually reply to a clip from a whitelisted account at Mobi Agent Clip This, and it will add it to the app if it's from a whitelisted account. But if it's the creator's account or my account, for example, we can do exactly what's in that screenshot, right? So at Mobi Agent Clip This and then add the CA. And then it'll add the CA to the related token section on the page as well. So anyone in the community can do it. At Mobi Agent Clip This, if you see a clip from a whitelisted account, the whitelisted accounts are in our pinned tweet. And then the creators can also do at Mobi Agent Clip This and then add the CAs as well, just like it's shown here on that screenshot.
For obvious reasons, you didn't want random people being able to link CAs to random clips, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough. And is there like, if I have this period in there, is that like, how smart is the system?
No, yeah, it picked that one up. That one got in there right away.
Okay, yeah, it did. Yeah, Rainmaker's on the next segment. Here's the clip of it. So very cool.
How long has this been out for now?
We released clips yesterday.
It may be too early to tell, but are you seeing a retention boost from it? Are you seeing people use it?
Yeah, people love it. We're pretty much everyone that came into the app yesterday used it. We're seeing great return usage today. And last week we released the AI Insights that people love as well. So I think again, like kind of like a testament to, you know, we're shipping something new every week, pretty much. And we have a lot in store as well.
Do you want to start talking about a bit more what you guys have in store? I remember you said you want
really,
to talk about
really quick. I want to just show one more thing with the clipping is you can tag multiple CAs as well. I believe it was this clip here that we had multiple CAs. So at Mobi clip this again. I didn't do the period this time, so it is intelligent. And then CA123. How many tokens can you put into a segment like this?
Unlimited.
Okay.
Yeah, unlimited. So all the token pages have a see more button. So you can click it and then it goes to like a dedicated see more button. And like that page has like full format of the text and you can scroll.
Okay, cool. Sorry, continue, Dom.
Yeah, sweet. No, these are great updates. It actually, I could see myself waking up and instead of, now I don't go on TikTok in the morning, but if
Instead
I
of
did,
doom scrolling.
yeah, instead of just doom scrolling my life away on Instagram Reels or TikTok, I could actually see myself going and doing this because it is fascinating. I do love these clips. Like, they're catchy, they're fun. And so it's really cool. We've talked about some features you guys have shipped out. The AI insights have been really helpful. You've gotten great feedback on that. The clips are your newest one. I think those are going to be super successful. I think it's awesome and glad you guys integrated it. Let's talk about what's coming. You mentioned token. I think you maybe had some other stuff on your mind. So go ahead and just take the wheel.
Yeah. So I guess like the two categories that are most important to us now are, one, continuing to build out features that are highly requested from the community, and then two, the token. So I can kind of like touch on both. So on the feature request, we have a lot coming from the community. A lot of it is about like different trading types, whether it's like stop loss or take profit, things like that, price alerts. So we have like a pretty consistent list, which is great. A lot of our community gives specific feature requests and they all kind of fall in a similar bucket, which is amazing because people deeply care about the product. They know exactly what they like and they know exactly what they want to see enhanced. So for us, the focus is really features that the community requested that improves their experience, and then B, like growth type features that we can add to the product. So we're going to continue to double down on those. And then another big priority for us, starting at the first of the year, it's always been a priority, but I think we had a lot more clarity, is the Moby mobile app is going incredibly well, right? If you were just to take like our ARR from last week and apply it to like what the token is valued at now, it's like a 1.3 or 1.4. So it's actually kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big
1.3, 1.4, what?
Multiple. So based on the ARR of last week, like the app's doing really well. And I think it's just because people generally feel like it's changed how they navigate the market. And I think that's exactly what we're looking for in the product, is we're trying to help you level up, right? One of the things that we've been thinking about a lot, and I've been in crypto since 2017. I've kind of seen every single cycle. Is there is a firm issue with product coins, and I actually think you guys are doing a great job kind of highlighting a lot of what needs to be changed with product coins. And I can't go into like immense detail now for a lot of reasons, right? Whether it's like legal or compliance or whatnot, but do want to make it like very clear that we are 100% aware of the structural and strategy changes that need to be made to put this entire ecosystem in the place that it deserves to be. And we're in the process of like going through exactly what that's going to look like. There's been a lot of like clarity that has come to light over the past few months, whether it's been like regulatory or like new innovations, right? I think you've seen everything. You guys cover a lot of them, right? But things like MetaDAO, Stamp, Street Foundation, all of those different things that you guys cover. And I think for us, we want to ensure that we create a foundation for not just the product, but the token as well, for immense upside. And I think the big unlock that has happened, over the course of the past few weeks is, we're really starting to see like that traction on the product take off. And now it's about capturing as much of that value as possible and putting it into, the ecosystem and the token. And we have a pretty clear understanding as to what we need to do to get to that point. And, we're in the process of starting that because it's important, and we want to be a leader, in this category. And there's no doubt that we can be. I think it ends up being a important shift into how value is transferred. And I think we've had these conversations, in private. So happy to kind of go into more detail about these things, but it is something that's at the top of our priority.
Yeah, when you think about tokens, I would just be curious, how do you like box them into groups? So we obviously have tokens like layer 1s and layer 2s, which, clearly have, you use a token for gas and it has like, that's kind of the utility of it. And then you have stuff like products like your own and maybe others where it's like, there's not so much of that aspect. So the way to add value is maybe different than tokens like layer 1s and layer 2s. Just curious
Yeah.
how you think about it. And maybe in your words, if you want to get into more detail on that.
Yeah, for sure. So I think one of the things that's changed over the previous cycles, and rightfully so, and I fall in this bucket because I buy and sell crypto coins as well, and stocks and invest across all markets. I think what's different with this cycle is there's an expectation, and rightfully so, for these product coins, which are very different than meme coins, right, to have ownership properties associated with them. And I think that's something that is going to revolutionize like the next decades of crypto, right? I think crypto, one of the big use cases of crypto is on-chain capital formation. And you're starting to see a lot of innovation in that category, right? And you guys cover a lot of that innovation on the channel. So in general, I think previous cycles, holders or investors or whatnot were more likely to kind of just take like a wait and see approach, where now, again, rightfully so, people want to ensure that what they're buying has deep ties back to the underlying product, right, or the underlying protocol. And I think that actually is the evolution of these quote unquote product coins, and that's something that we're deeply looking into adjusting what a structure would look like to ensure that we're tied deeply into that category as well, because I do think that's what crypto tokens in general need to do to see long lasting success, right? And ends up being like less of a meta thing and more of a no, these are real on-chain businesses, and X, Y, and Z is how these tokens accrue value and are a part of the ecosystem. And I think over the holidays, like a huge conversation on X was about buybacks not being enough. We saw the Jupe team leads. I think Meteora as well commented on it. It was like a pretty large conversation, and I actually kind of agree with that a lot. I think people are doing buybacks because they think buybacks are one method in which you can assist or accrue value back to the token. But at the end of the day, those experiments for the most part have not been incredibly successful. I think there's a new category of what needs to unlock for tokens, and it falls much more in that ownership category 100%. And everyone in the space, I feel like, is thinking that way and is trying to find the right balance and the right solution to offer that. But I do think it's the future, and it's something, again, that's like at the top of our priority. So to go back to your initial question, how do I see those categories? I see, there's layer 1s, you have things that are more like store of value, privacy. I think you can put like Bitcoin, Zcash, kind of like in that category of like store of values, right? Like the gold and silvers of crypto. But I do think like the next evolution, like the biggest bucket in crypto, is going to be on-chain companies and product coins. And I think we're kind of going through the first innings of what's going to be a revolution in that category, but it's going to come with a lot of structural changes. But those structural changes are going to be amazing for the product, the team, the holders. And it's something that we are doing a ton of research on, having a lot of conversations, and just really excited for 2026, because part one is building a product that's seeing a lot of success in a vertical that has asymmetric upside, and I think we have that with Moby Mobile, and I really do feel that way, and the trajectory is strong. Step two is, how do you deeply intertwine the token into that, leveraging a lot of the new innovations that are coming onto the market.
Yeah, and I agree with this statement too. Like you said, you have these two buckets. You have the store of value, you have the tokens with network effect like Solana, Ethereum, but 99% of tokens don't fit in that box. So it's almost like nonsensical to trade them as if they were a token with network effect or a store of value. Like you got Solana and then everything on Solana that doesn't fit in that same category. And so
that's a great point.
It's good that you can address that. And I think you're right. This is like a very new innovation. I think now that we're getting more clarity, it's like more realistic to bring this to life. I think in the past it hasn't been so much so, but you're right. Totally cutting edge. And I'm glad to see Moby's very interested in that sector and niche.
We got very excited by this conversation, Mateus. So I love the direction. Yeah, I mean, this common feedback is, if you own, let's say, equity as an example of an ownership token, why do you need to sell it? Right? Like, you have the thesis, you see the company's executing, the metrics are performing well. Like, whereas if it's just a product token, you're almost like betting on the maybe not network effects, maybe not buybacks. But when it's equity, it's like, hey, instead of those buybacks, don't worry about me. I want to see more users. So then you say, all right, we're going to take that money and put it into user rewards or something like that. And maybe we still buy the tokens and put it into user rewards, but you know, it adds more to it. Actually, there's a community question here that I said to Neo I would read out. And this is, again, equates back to the token. They want to basically hear about the Moby market maker, or anytime Sol dips, the token doesn't do so well. You know, an older holder, and I think you've summarized, if we were to kind of finish off the token segment here, like, how would you talk to your long-term supporters and token holders about this next phase for Moby?
Yeah, I would kind of just go back to, you know, what I had just shared prior, which is, I think the first part is the product's doing incredibly well, and that's very important. And I kind of alluded to like a multiple number if you were to take our ARR and apply it to the token. And it's like, well, why would those multiples like not apply in the current moment? I do believe it's because there's like a structural problem with all product coins. But you're starting to see a change in landscape where there's, again, I alluded to MetaDAO. You know, I can allude to, I think, you know, Pump's been doing this hackathon now, and I'm curious to see like more details as to what that looks like. You know, Street Foundation, Soar is another one that you guys work closely with. So what I'm basically trying to get to is that one other example, actually, Morpho. You can take the Morpho example, Morpho on Base. I think they did that last year. What's really exciting is there's a lot of new innovation that's coming to light to apply more ownership properties to these tokens. And that's the category that we're deeply exploring, because I think we're moving into a new era in crypto where ownership is an expectation from holders, and it should be. And ownership can have a lot of different, you know, categories. It can mean a lot of different things, but there's feature sets that you can add to the token that really give it that ownership properties. And that's what we're deeply looking into on the Moby side, because one, we believe Moby Mobile is going to be the gateway to invest in these assets. And if so, 100% Moby token needs to fall into that category. So yeah, I would say certain elements I can't go into detail on right now, but what I would say is it's the number one priority for the team, and the mobile app is crushing it. We need to make sure that's reflected in the entire ecosystem. That includes the token.
And I'll give context to the Asset Dash listeners today. We talk about ownership tokens constantly on Asset Dash, so make sure you're tuning in daily to hear about this. But Mike Dudas at Six Man Ventures, when he commented on MetaDAO structure, he said this is the first time he saw a liquid product token that was investable. And the reason being is there was those legal rights that the token holders had, and it was verifiable, and it was written in a document. There was a legal system behind it. And we see this with Bags App. A lot of the Bags App guys, you know, launched token, took the 100K in fees and said, thanks guys, out. And they have no legal ramifications. Trove, we just covered Trove. Even Hyperliquid got it wrong. They didn't do their due diligence on Trove. Those guys washed their hands. Thanks for $11 million, gone, right? Like, we see this over and over and over and over again. Directionally, this is the way. It's streaming on Asset Dash daily. It's streaming on MCG. So, and
to comment on that point too, you know, our team really focuses on trying to do things the right way. Like we really take that. It's important. You know, we've been in this space long enough that we feel like that's not the case every time. You just gave two examples there. And for us, we prioritize doing things the right way. And that's what we want to implement with the token and the structure that we're deeply exploring, is a model that kind of alludes to exactly what you shared, Mike Dudas shared, right? And I think that's really important. And I think it's going to become the expectation for users in the market. And unfortunately, because of, you know, examples like the one you shared there with Trove, a lot of times now in the market, if a coin does not have those ownership rights, you know, clearly outlined, everything kind of gets thrown into a bucket, right? All the coins that don't have that kind of get thrown into a bucket. and we want to be a leader in pushing this new innovation around ownership and what it can mean for tokens. It's not an easy process. It's not something that you can just like snap your fingers and do overnight, but it's something that we're doing the due diligence on. And, both of you are aware because, we've all been, having conversations behind the scenes on how to make this a reality.
Yeah, Crypto Jones has a great question here. He said, Moby keeps on cooking great product. Thanks for the feedback, Jones. Any plans to add perps?
Potentially in the future, for sure. I think, perps, predictions, all those are options. Other chains are options. We just see right now there's such a huge opportunity to do spot assets on Solana correctly, especially because the amount of assets that are coming to Solana, it's crazy. You have everything now from pre-stocks with Anthropic and OpenAI, tokenized stocks continue to grow, and we want to really nail spot assets first. And there's a lot of features that we feel like we still need to add there. And then once we do add there, our goal is to make it easy, accessible, and give you the best discovery to invest in any type of vehicle on chain. But right now, the priority is definitely spot assets.
On perps, we saw Phantom choose Hyperliquid, and people were kind of surprised they didn't choose Jupiter's perps. Any thoughts on a perps, routing preference?
Yeah, for us right now, love Hyperliquid, love Jupe, two amazing companies that have absolutely changed crypto for the better, in my opinion. We have not started exploring perps at all. I do think just the nature of the product now, we're definitely incredibly focused on Solana. But again, like our top priority is nailing spot assets because I feel like there's a lot of room to grow there.
And I mean, nailing spot assets, checking out these pre-IPO stocks like Anthropic, SpaceX, they have been cooking. You actually made a great tweet a while ago that said like, hey, there's clearly someone's missing this because this stock needs to be repriced, and it instantly did, I think, the following day. But this is a big opportunity I've been missing, and just like these pre-IPO stocks have been cooking, and like it's a really great opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. I did like a few tweets on SpaceX initially, like not investment advice, but I think after my tweets they went up like 100%.
You moved the pre-IPO market for SpaceX. Congratulations.
Well, all I did was like we're taking all of these new innovations on Solana very seriously. So I do feel we're the best way to buy pre-IPOs on Solana. We have the about sections, the why it's moving sections for all the pre-IPOs. So we're literally telling you in real time like the latest updates from the companies, and I think people are becoming more aware of the opportunity there. We're seeing a lot of activity from our community with those assets. But the SpaceX example was, they had raised like an $800 billion market cap or something, and like the pre-stocks version was trading at 600 something. So there was definitely like a dislocation there. But that's what I'm really excited about is when you look at the asset landscape on Solana in a year from now, it's going to look very different. You're going to have tons of startups. You're going to have tons of ownership coins. You're going to have tons of tokenized stocks, tons of tokenized ETFs, real estate, the list goes on. And our model in our app is to help you best discover all of these opportunities. And yeah, I'm really excited about the rest of the year.
Yeah, and because they're so fresh and new, you get these arbitrage opportunities like you just mentioned, where it's like, hey, guy, like SpaceX is publicly rumored to be, IPOing at X value, or OpenAI is going to, rumored to be valuing at $1.5 trillion IPO. SpaceX rumored to have raised at an $800 billion valuation. And you see these dislocations, like you mentioned, or arbitrage opportunities. And because it's so new, we don't have bots or market makers just instantly filling that gap. So like there are so many opportunities here. And again, opportunities that people don't typically have access to, right? Unless you're going through, Robinhood has a few select ones you can go through, but unless you're going through different routes, you do not have access to these as a normal investor, right? So it's pretty cool to see just opportunities like this on the Moby mobile app.
For sure.
Mateus, I want to pivot from mobile here. If there's any final mobile thoughts you want to wrap up with, and then we want to talk about desktop because what is going on with desktop? Love Moby Screener. We show it on our show all the time. So yeah. So we have something new coming out there in the next few weeks. I'm really excited about. It's going to improve your desktop crypto experience across the web. I'll kind of like leave it at that.
but keep an eye out. We're going to open up a testing group for that product in the next few weeks. But we're really excited about it. It elevates terminal trading. I guess I'll kind of leave it at that. But please keep an eye out for the testing group. We'd love to get people involved there. I think we're going to build up pretty good interest. We had about 400 people join the Moby Mobile testing group when we initially launched. And I'm expecting something very similar for this upcoming product as well.
Can I link the Telegram group in the show notes?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Okay, well,
And you said this would be like a terminal extension, you said?
So we haven't announced specifically what it is, but what I would say is from our team using it internally, if you use terminals to trade on desktop, if you're a desktop trader, we're seeing just massive win rate improvements amongst the team. We have, one guy on our team who is just every single day just posting like 200, 300% plays using this product that we've been building in stealth.
got to be careful. He might not need to work anymore soon.
Might retire, but you have to. I'm going to do a personal tweet with a demo of the product once we're ready for the testing group. I'll definitely share it with you guys so you guys can join the testing group and share it around. But it's a lot of the things in Moby Mobile that people love that give them an edge, but we allow you to apply that to your terminal trading. I think is a good way to summarize what it is without specifically saying what it is yet.
Mateus, I would love to talk about distribution with you because we see FOMO made a huge push, and I've seen people talk about that. This is probably more of an emotional thing that people are going to FOMO rather than like an execution thing of it maybe being an actually superior app to something like an Axiom, something like a Moby, whatever it might be. How do you guys think of marketing, right? They went with the hard marketing. They have a show. They have lots of badges going out to the community. Like, what's the angle you guys want to take to really get Moby into the hands of everyone?
Yeah, for us, what's really exciting is it's a lot of friends inviting friends. We're not really, doing like extensive paid marketing at the moment. Our focus now is just building the best product possible. And that product is really impressing people, which is leading to them inviting more friends. So, we've seen, incredible growth over the past few months, and it's really accelerating now. And a lot of that is just friends wanting to get their friends on Moby. Obviously, they want to help their friend out because it's a great app. The other part is we have a fantastic referral program. So we have multiple tiered referral program, 30% for people that you invite, and then 3 and 2% underneath for people that they invite. We have the cash back. So overall, we just have a really great rewards program. And what's great is as more people come into the ecosystem, we're seeing those invites starting to grow more and more and more and more, right? So we want to win on product. We want to create the best way for you to invest. And I think a lot of those apps are doing things that are really great as well. But in general, I don't personally, at least from what we're seeing, and I think from what our community is seeing, I don't know if SocialFi leads to the best investment decisions. I think a lot of people join a lot of these SocialFi apps because they want to build a copy trading community because they can, monetize that. And when they buy, 500 people buy after them and their buy initially goes up 50% immediately. Our bread and butter is this discovery algorithm that we're continuing to improve every single day. That's creating great results for our community. And we don't care about how many followers you have. You're only on the list if you're a smart wallet and you're executing. And then we use what they're doing and turn that into our algorithm to rank coins on our app, send you notifications. And that's like the real edge. And if you look at where we're going, as more assets come on chain, as more volume comes on chain, our algorithm is only going to get smarter. And I think people are going to want to use the product that puts them in the best position to win. And I believe that's Moby.
How do you find the best middle ground between like cutting the noise of SocialFi, but also keeping the aspects that are valuable? We know lots of Telegram group chats or Discord chats or maybe like Twitter curated lists are very valuable in terms of finding that alpha before everyone, else gets an edge on it. But at the same time, on the other hand, you do have these copy traders or people that are looking to exploit the community more so. Like, how do you toe the middle ground between providing the best alpha without making noise everywhere?
Yeah. So on one part with our discovery algo, the alpha is entirely generated from smart wallets, and we're updating that smart wallet list every second. So based on what those smart wallets are doing on chain, that determines the notifications that we send in app, our trending ranks, all of that. So that's like our secret sauce, is the smart money algo, where we're tracking all these wallets and leveraging that data to basically show you coins that you should be, doing research on, right? And then the second part is, I think, as we covered earlier, the AI insights and the clips, right? That's us taking elements of social, but very highly curated elements, and bringing that into the app to give you a better understanding on the narrative behind the asset, or just broader narratives in the market. So I think it comes down to curation, right? And that's like one of the things that we're really focused on. And those two features are an example of that.
Taking a page out of the Axiom playbook, I love how the screen has the chart in the middle, and you can split one side and have wallets up here on the screen, other side split and have Twitter up on, Twitter feed on the screen. Is there going to be something like that for Moby at all, where you can maybe have the chart in the middle and have clips on one side, wallet tracking on the other side, totally changeable, customizable?
Yeah. So that kind of comes to this new feature, or this new product that we have coming out in a few weeks. And again, not trying to leak all the information on it, but when we do put out the testing group, I'll jump on again and we can go into it in detail. That product, basically, if you have a setup already on desktop, which a lot of people do who are just solely desktop traders, that we're releasing is going to 10x your desktop experience. I think that's kind of like the best way to, summarize the nature of the product and why we built it. But yeah, on that, just be on the lookout. I'm going to do a tweet from my personal account. We're going to build a testing group for this new product. You'll get early access, and I think people are just going to see amazing results using it.
Well, we appreciate you. Always a pleasure talking with you, Josh. You got something loading up?
Yeah, look, I got my final thing is we're going to be clipping us talking about Moby on Moby, and then talking about Moby. So there you go. It's like the Matrix.
From Asset Dash, clipping our conversation with Moby on the Moby mobile app. There you go. The full sandwich.
We can probably get 10 clips out of this one.
Oh,
Yeah.
easy.
Easy.
This was alpha dense for those that watch. So appreciate it.
Awesome, guys. Enjoy the rest of the stream. Take care.
Thanks, Mateus.
Thanks,
Always a pleasure.
Mateus. Yep. Yo, Moby is
It's a cool
killing it. Yeah, it's a cool app. I'm blown away. Hey, look, Moby Mobile came out when, like, October, and it's just been every day getting better and better and better. Every week getting better and better and better. And I mean, so 1.3 times market cap gives us about a $4 million annual reoccurring revenue, ARR. So there you guys go if you do the kind of rough math. So I think if they get this right, whatever ownership model that they go into, $4 million ARR, good user base. I think there's a lot of value here that's mispriced and people are sleeping.
Yeah, dude, they are iterating fast. I genuinely could see myself like wanting to relax, be in my bed, just chilling out, and like actually scrolling Moby's version of TikTok here.
Just pure alpha.
Yeah.
Pure alpha.
There we go. But nonetheless, it was a great conversation. Kings, we ran out of time, but I would have loved to ask him about DeFi implementations. Is there going to be a way for me to do different DeFi things through the Moby mobile app? Maybe at some point. I have a feeling, and I don't want to speak exactly here for Mateus, but I have a feeling that that's not the main focus right now. I think there's just a ton of volume in spot, different primitives going around. And I think like just access to that stuff is their main focus, but I don't want to speak for him. So obviously DeFi mechanisms in the app would be cool.
Yeah. Nonetheless, for those joining for the rain segment, we are about to get into it, but I think I want to introduce it with a tweet that we put out yesterday, and then we'll do a quick
we have to
jump in here. We have to watch this clip, guys, just because Rain and MCG have history. We have good history, not in like a weird way. Like we got history here. Yeah, we're not like that at all. But yeah, I'll show
okay,
this
but
clip.
What about Rain? Okay, we're gonna do it, buddy.
Yo, bro, Dominic, like, come on, live show. Like, we got you, fam. We got you. First, we're gonna watch this clip real quick. All right.
So here's a quick little tweet to give you a quick summary, guys, from the Rainmaker account. But they said, today we're releasing the future of trenching, Storm AI agents. All that's required is belief, some rain, and a phone. If you're new, Storms are the personal AI agents that trench using our proprietary AI models developed by in-house by Rain Dev. storms are designed to get better over time. The current model used is predicted to.
We're streaming to
graduate, but
10
over the next
people
few
at this
weeks,
time
we'll be
too.
expanding to an array of exciting new models. Hilarious. Their storms to use AI in new ways. Much like Cursor did for code, we are doing that for trading. But let's look at the chart too. So we'll share this tab.
Let's look at this chart.
Dude, listen to the mic quality.
Bro, like our quality of stream has just increased, but look at that 400K, guys. 400K. We've been talking about Rain. I won't play the rest of it because it's just all pure old alpha. But with that, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Rain on stage. What's up, brother?
What's good? How's everyone?
What's good with you, man? We're happy to talk to you again. It's been so long, and I think we're due for an update with Rain. You guys have been cooking. I mean, I saw you guys had some crazy partnerships with MoonPay. You guys have been cooking with new products coming out. You guys are like a $20 million market cap now or something crazy. So I don't know. You tell me what's up. We got a lot to cover, I think, buddy.
Yeah, man, we're doing a lot. We're leasing an app on the App Store for iPhone. We're doing the Neo card for spending anonymously. The agent started earning for our users profitably and fully autonomously. So yeah, there's a lot we're doing, and obviously we dropped the MoonPay partnership today. We're proud to partner with them. They're proud to partner with us and offer a way to fund user accounts on Rainmaker.
Okay, we gotta kind of run it back here because it's been a while. What has the journey looked like? When we had you on, you were kind of like first when you had you on back again at like 400K, you were just kind of breaking into this agent prediction market trading, autonomous prediction market trader. It was like a new thing. Prediction markets were popping off. We had seen Kalshi and Polymarket just start going to raise at pretty crazy valuations. Can you just walk us through what that development has been like for these last couple months, going from 0 to 1 to whatever you think you're at today, 10? Would love to hear.
23 million.
23 million at 23. What has that looked like? Like, what have you guys been implementing? What's changed? It like really just walk me through the history if you can.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think it started with just like a weird synchronicity moment. Back when we were developing Storm, we were like in terms of me and one of my anonymous co-founders, we were just thinking that Rain should be valued higher because we really believed in the tech for like automating meme coin buys and sells, but it wasn't like popping the way we wanted it to. We had like a smaller community and everything, and we were just like, what can we do to expand and move higher, move the chart up north? And you know, it just started with like one night, 3 people hit us and they were like, you should do prediction markets. I'm like, okay, you should do prediction markets. Cool. Hey, you have this AI for meme coins, you should do prediction markets. Like 3 separate people that I really look up to and admire and were actually advising us said like the same thing the same day. So I kind of stopped. My other co-founder stopped, and we were just like, maybe we should do prediction markets. So we did basically a hard pivot. We trusted the universe basically, and just pivoted our AI agent for meme coins directly into prediction markets, and we've just been building ever since. And we picked up a whole lot more speed and momentum. Because like meme coins aren't played out, but they're like, you know, an established meta and narrative to where if you're building a company for them, you need a whole lot of motion to actually break through in the space. And I feel like because we timed the prediction market pivot well, we were catching the wind right when it started to pick up, so to speak.
And I would love to hear a few thoughts on this.
Yeah.
As a founder who went through a pivot, and you pivoted from meme coin trading agents, which I feel like, I don't know if I would call that saturated, but it was definitely a little more difficult, I think, to make a name for yourself. I see quite a few people doing it, to prediction markets, which is something cutting edge. You know, Peter Thiel talks about niching down a little bit as a startup and just finding something you're really good at and making it your own. And of course, this was an emerging market. How important is it as a founder to sometimes make that hard pivot when you have to?
Dude, so important. And it's something that we didn't necessarily want to do. It had like a little bit of a bad taste in our mouth at first. but we did it anyways. We niched down twice in prediction markets. So first we're like, prediction markets, cool. Yeah, we can do arbitrage, we can do copy trading, we had all these creative ideas for what we could do. But then we had to hone in again and be like, why don't we just make an AI model for sports and train that AI model for sports based on each team's performance and based on each league's performance. And it really turned out well. I'm a sports dude myself. Like, I grew up playing football since I was 5. I thought I was going to be a professional tennis player. I was ranked in the United States and was touring and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so it just makes sense. And I've never trained a sports model before, but I'm a sports person and I'm a machine learning and AI person, obviously. And it just clicked. It just honestly clicked. And it's like, it just became obvious. And that's what happens when you niche down, like Peter would say. So.
Interesting. And I think you would probably have the numbers, but what, 75 or 80% of prediction market volume is coming from sports right now?
Yeah, exactly. And most times close to like 90% when we were starting. So obviously, yeah, it's expanded to around 75 to 80% only. But like back when we started, it was damn near 99%, which is crazy.
Wow. How was the national championship? Did you bet on that at all last night?
No, we didn't bet on it. The model is quite picky, and we're only doing NBA right now, which seems to be pretty successful. It's won a few games this week for our users. But I love that Mendoza run last night. That shit was amazing, man.
The
You see him dive, bro? Yeah,
Dude, bro. Dude,
That was-
Mendoza's a stud, bro.
I know.
No, that could, and Signetti, bro. The whole story is just beautiful, honestly. So, but yeah, I'm glad. I'm in Florida, and I was rooting against Miami. You know how it gets.
Oh shit!
In the states you're from, if you're not, I like FSU. I'm not a big UF fan. I'm not a big Miami fan. So to see them lose made me happy. But Indiana winning was pretty electric.
Yeah, I understand, man. I understand.
But talk to me a little bit about why you guys are doing basketball right now. Is it something with the algorithm? Is that just where the best results are? What kind of made you guys land on basketball specifically? And I'd love to know how those numbers are looking currently.
For sure. Well, football we left off kind of well. We posted like all of our last NFL trades, I think over a month ago. Left off on the model autonomously generating around 2,100% on one game. I think that was like no, actually that was college football. I think it bet on Cal against some other Colorado. No, it was a cool game. It made a lot of money, and we're like, okay, it made $7K in one game, and that $7,000 actually seeded one of our vaults. So football, we see something really interesting. The reason why we're in basketball is because you have a controlled climate. You can't control the altitude. And when players step into a different altitude with the NBA, the ball flies higher, more so than they're used to. So they have less control over the ball, and it really depends on how soon that they can travel to their destination when they're playing an away game. If they're going to play like the Denver Nuggets or Utah Jazz, and that really will affect like somebody from Florida, like Miami Heat playing, because the altitudes are different. What we were saying with football is because we train models on each sport, each league within a sport, like college football versus NFL, and then each team within a league, we're seeing that the cold weather really affected the model's choice, and we saw a decline in accuracy. So we chose to turn football off. Once that cold weather hit, once the moisture hit, you started getting snowy games, you started getting rainy games, you started getting rain delays, you started getting so many things. Football started just being way more unpredictable, and we had to change the algorithms, the features we engineer, and the model training process. Or we're like, okay, let's take the 2,000% we just got on this one game, and several other games, 600% plus 200% plus 150%, and just start fresh for the actual rollout for all of our other users with the NBA. And it happened to be the NBA is much easier to control, much easier for our models to predict. And it just makes sense if we're going to roll out AI as a product, then try and make it as consistent and predictable as possible. So that's why we started with the NBA, and it's worked out well for us. And users got to experience this week plus 70%, plus 30 to 144%. You can see some users getting on our Twitter, so it turned out successful.
And we got a question here from Pascal. He says, how important is it to know the sport well to code the agent? Is it transversal or multiple sports? It's a good question. Like, is this your elite ball knowledge brain over here coding the agent how it needs to be, or are you just feeding it the right information? Like, what goes into it?
Definitely not my elite brain. It's not easy to translate to different sports. Like for our NHL model, you have like periods instead of quarters. You might have a goalie fight like what we saw last night. If you bet on the goalie fight, then you might have made plus 50,000
Crazy
odds. Yeah, I know, that's just freaking crazy. It's quite different. The pace is different. The arena is different. Like I had this thought, like, hey, maybe the NFL model will translate correctly to NHL, and it just did not translate at all. You still have to map things to individual sports, leagues, teams, players, and it's just like not my elite brain, but just like going down the process and doing the due diligence to make sure you have every subtle nuance that a team and a league and a sport would have, and that would give you good results, Pascal.
Yeah, ideally, right, you have a few going at once. What's the team looking like at this point? Do you have a few people on different sports trying to crack the code and make sure all of them are up and running at the same time, or are you pretty much holding this down by yourself? Just curious where you're at now, a couple months since we talked to you.
We have a few extra people. We have one other person helping me now. I mean, it's not like an elite brain thing at all. It's like, I'm not going to speak to that person, but they're very talented and they've been helping me a lot with understanding these models and fleshing them out, and et cetera. So thankfully, it's not just me anymore. And then we had hired a really talented dev team to help us build this whole website that you've been showing. And then
Looks great.
and then I came in and just did the back end for like how the model works, how it performs, how it buys, sells, settles, redeems, all that stuff. So it's helped having a bigger team and fleshing things out quicker and preparing for the future of AI generated profit.
Yeah, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but I'm not sure if you have, but there's a movie called Moneyball where this coach comes in basically and he recruits players completely off analytics and numbers for baseball. It's a great movie. That's kind of how I feel like this agent's working, right? This agent's going and finding all the numbers and making sports into a numbers game, which is different than a lot of people look at it, right? Is that like a good way to look at these models, or am I just way off?
No, you're not way off at all. I think that's an excellent way to look at the models. We've even explored just like licensing these models out to teams to see if they could predict which plays to run for the football like teams and football associations. Haven't really explored that yet for the NBA, but like especially just seeing how much analytics are worth to the NFL, it's like something that we'll probably do this upcoming 2026, 2027 season this year. It's just licensing those things out and seeing if we can create embedded models that can both inform teams on how to win better and like offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, DCs, but as well as separate them enough to where we can legally operate in like gaming, future CFTC and betting associations and industries to give our users the edge and better predict outcomes. And, like we're about to move beyond sports again, but we had to niche down first, and we're creating a model that can basically predict everything. And I'm very excited to roll that out with the partnership that's going to roll out soon. And it's just been a little bit of a secret, but yeah, just sports for now.
But that's why you come to MCG, right? To spill secrets. Let's by the way, that's a fascinating thought here. That maybe there's even outside of just the prediction business and the gambling business, if you will, like there's even valuable, these analytics are valuable to the teams themselves. And they might have maybe hire someone new or have someone that just goes through these analytics solely and tries to optimize based on those. And like that's not even something that I thought about remotely. So it's really interesting that you guys are exploring that. How much interest have you gotten in that?
We've gotten a lot of interest from people that don't run a team. We've gotten a lot of interest from like our users saying, "Hey, you should do this," and we're like, "Yeah, we should, but we don't have time." Yeah, I mean, not really like much institutional interest from like leagues or team owners or anything yet because we haven't done the work to, I think, shop it around. Um, if we choose to shop it around, it has to be like profitable for us, and it has to be kind of worth our time.
Of course.
But it's something very interesting that I think, especially that could help shape the future of sports, and I've always wondered about that since I was a kid, you know. So
And real quick, Josh, I saw you had something, so just bear with me here. And is this something anyone else has explored, or are you guys pretty much the first people that you know of that have are attempting to do something like this?
in terms of the sports or
I guess like are you creating a new market here? Is this like a blue ocean in terms of, hey, no one's really tried to do this, and that's where we see things like some of the most successful enterprises, business monopolies in the world kind of explore blue oceans and areas that have never really been explored in the past. Is there someone that's done the AI analytics and sold these to teams, and has this been done before? Would you guys be basically exploring this for the first time?
I
Just
think it
curious.
is blue ocean. Yeah, I don't think it's red ocean. I think it's fairly new. We're trailblazers here, and we're looking to move forward as fast and as hard as we can. Pause.
Almost like prediction markets themselves, right? It was a brand new thing, emerging market here, and it came to be a very good opportunity for you guys. This is maybe a similar vertical, it seems.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I want to pivot to the model itself and the market here, because we know prediction markets, like any market, is a zero-sum game. Value is created by someone losing value on the other side of the quote-unquote trade. How do you keep, and this is more just like general thoughts on how you think about this, but like, how do you keep your models and IP? Because it seems like if you're not using Rainmaker, you're basically losing to Rainmaker users, is what I'm kind of vibing at here. Like, obviously, prediction markets and betting is such a massive market that there's so much liquidity out there that this is probably fine now. But like, if you get some sort of institution that takes your model and pumps $1 billion into it, like, do they take all the winnings? Like, how do you think about, is it just Rainmaker users that will only ever get access to this? Maybe talk about, like, yeah, I don't know if I described, it's not really a question, more just getting your thoughts on that.
Yeah, for sure. And we have our biggest partnership coming up with a sports site. I'll just say that. In terms of our retail launch, because we haven't launched on retail quite yet. We've been testing with our users the past week and doing the soft launch. But here's the thing: you're onto something, Josh, because what we're doing is Rainmaker models and AI and the features that we engineer are not going to war against other users on Polymarket or other users on Kalshi. They're going to war against Susquehanna House, which is the market maker that makes the prices. So what our models do is they're back tested on meticulous data for months and months. And when you can, form a log loss over that much data, and it's that meticulous, and so the nuances are there for each team within a league, within a sport. We actually exploit inefficiencies in the market maker itself. So the market maker uses AI, the market maker uses algorithms. That's how they determine the price immediately, instantaneously, whenever a field goal is kicked, whenever it doinks off of the freaking right side of the uprights, whenever there's a fumble, whenever there's an offensive lineman that flinches and they get a false start, right? The market maker has every single scenario for all of these games covered, and they've had them covered since the 80s. It's the market maker, and we're able to exploit the inefficiency there because they're not perfect. Just like we'll never be perfect as an AI model and system, they'll never be perfect. They can approximate it, but there are those times when it slips up, and then that's when our model steps in. So right now, because we're going to battle against the market maker itself and not the majority of users that are just too slow and spilled their beer at the game because the field goal is wrong, and then they're going to go to Kalshi 20 seconds later and sell their position. We're going to war against something that's automated, something that is not human, and something that has intelligence that is incredibly fast. There's so much liquidity there because they set the liquidity. And when they set the liquidity wrong based on who they think will win, the team that they think will win, that's what we exploit, and then that's where we step in and we make them lose. So as long as we don't get to the point to where Rainmaker users are basically winning too much, I think we can fly under the radar, but we'll be able to fit as much as that liquidity can handle without the game starting to erode and the liquidity starting to erode. Yeah, I feel like I went down a rabbit hole, bro.
No, this is like the crux of, I think, the conversation here. So this partnership with a sports site, like, is that not going down the road of kind of diluting the liquidity? That is, there's only so much market inefficiency you can take out of this.
Well,
Or
and
is the pie so big?
And they don't want, I mean, you guys winning would essentially mean the house or the bookie in some cases like loses, right? So if they integrate your product, wouldn't they technically want you guys to be losers?
100%. So here's the thing. With this integration that I'm talking about, it's for our coverage feature, which is like a double hedge feature, which offers users insurance. So if you lose a bet and you manually place it, it allows you to recover some of your losses. Because what we were looking at here is like, it's never fun when the AI loses. It does lose sometimes, and it's like how, even though it's profitable over a month, users are impatient, and in order to design a product that will scale, that people will be comfortable with, we had to kind of create something that is the opposite of leverage. So before you give yourself more exposure, how do you give yourself some sort of protection? So that's what we're talking about here, first of all, with the sports thing. But yes, you're completely right. We have to do scaling in a balanced way and a balanced approach so that we don't tip the market in the wrong way, because we don't want too many people using the Rainmaker product, or else the edge starts to slip away and our users don't earn as much. But we have two different models. We have a turbo model, and then we have like a boring model. We've nicknamed it internally with the community. The boring model has been very consistent, and that's the one that will average users around 15% per month, right? But the model buys in like the 60 to 80 cent range, like in terms of price. So if a team has a 60 to 80% chance of winning, that's where this boring model looks. And it's boring because you make less profit, but it's more consistent, and it's just kind of like every other day I make a trade, and at the end of the week you should be profitable. There's way more liquidity, millions of dollars available in that range, because most people that are betting manually are going to still bet in the 60 to 80 cent range. A lot of people will bet in the 90 cent range and upwards. We have then a turbo model, which will fit way less liquidity and way far fewer users into it. That one's reserved for our highest holders that hold at least 3 million RAIN, because we obviously can't fit everyone at, I think I bought something for 4 cents last night. But if that 4 cents were to take profit at 40 cents, you'd be up plus 900%. So we obviously can't fit everyone in there because the market maker is actually overpricing that 4 cents. Susquehanna, they're overpricing that 4 cents. That team doesn't have a 4% chance of winning. They have more so like a 1.5 to 2% chance of winning. So we're buying overpriced odds when we buy that low. So if we were to try and fit a whole lot of liquidity in there, a whole lot of users in there, the liquidity won't fit it in, and the price will slip from 4 cents to probably 12 cents or 15 cents. That is still fine if you can fit 1,000 users in there, but we're not going to fit 100,000 users in there. By the time that we fit 100,000 users in there with liquidity being so low, it wouldn't be profitable because we'd be taking profit at 40, but you would have bought at 40 by that time. So we're limiting it to like our highest tier of ownership, so that we can protect profits and keep the edge there for those users that have been willing to make the sacrifice to buy the rain, believe in the rain. And for the boring model, we can of course fit 10,000 users in there easily. So
Yeah, see, the boring model is interesting, because there are lots of firms, funds, smart money, whatever you want to call, who are interested. I mean, they would love 15% monthly yield. The only
Right.
thing is it's gambling ultimately, and also maybe hasn't been proven out for years and years and years. How interested are like, have you guys had conversations with firms and funds that are looking to maybe use the boring model for these more secure, I guess as safe as you can maybe be with sports betting odds? Is there interest coming from them? Is this purely retail right now?
this is purely from our crypto community currently. We've had people reach out, like advisors that advise Rain, reach out and say that they have some funds that are interested. But of course, those funds need you to prove it out for at least 6 months, and that's a long time. So we're in the era of AI, and that's not to mean that AI is magic or anything, but if you're able to actually use the plethora of information that is available to us now, and you'll look back on 2026 like it was a gold mine and it was a gold rush in the 1800s in California. Who's selling the shovels and who's actually doing the digging, though? That's like the difference here, and I feel like we're doing a little bit of both. I think the information is there and quite available to run 10 different instances of AIs to help you backtest in a way that you've never backtested before. If you're a data scientist or have a machine learning background like me, all the PhDs I know are using AI to get some sort of advantage when they're forming their new models, and it's way more advantageous to do so if you're a machine learning researcher. So having that benefit us and our team, we've actually been able to sidestep what the institutions are used to in terms of loving to have 15% yield or profit, and actually get wild gains here. We're obviously going to have to prove ourselves over a long time, but I'm confident that we can reach that threshold to being profitable long time for our users, as long as we don't disrespect the liquidity that we've been given, and we accept it for what it is, and we fit our users in, and we ensure that they're profitable enough based on how much they've spent on it.
Yeah, something we have conversations about on the show is we've talked about defense tech, and certain emerging markets are trading at premiums right now, right? Defense tech being one of them. AI, you could possibly say. I would say prediction markets are probably also trading at a premium at the moment. When you guys think of raising funds, VC money, mergers and acquisitions, like, where are your thoughts like that? Are you guys looking to raise? Are you guys good for cash? Are you bootstrapped maybe? Like, tell me all about that, please.
Yeah, so we've been approached, like literally a VC just asked for our deck and is trying to schedule a meeting during this call. I'm like, shut up, dude. I'm on a cool show.
It's on MCG.
Yeah,
Here's the
man.
deck. Forget the deck. You could do due diligence right here.
Yeah, what do you need a deck for? Just tune in.
Tune in.
Exactly. Yeah, dude, my thoughts, right? But yeah, we've gotten a lot of interest from the VC side, and yeah, I mean, interesting people like music managers that I know from the music industry are trying to invest, and they manage like famous music artists like Ice Spice and stuff like that, and just people from the music industry are trying to get their hands on this in an interesting, weird twist.
Ice Spice X Rain collab coming
Why?
soon.
Like, yeah, why?
Hey,
Is it
she's
because they have
twerking in
the
the rain,
audience?
man.
Get
Yeah.
sexy red Rainmaker soon. Get it sexy. Get it sexy.
That
Sorry.
might be bad for us. Yeah.
Credibility
So,
gone.
so yeah, we've had interest there, but we were really bootstrapped by our um, I would say our creator fees have helped a lot, and just like the supply, I think probably 12% of our supply is locked for 3 months, and then we begin to like take tiny bits of that where no one will notice, but it'll feed the team, make sure the team is good and operational, make sure the servers are sweating, and make sure the GPUs are sweating and the models are doing what they need to.
We just had a conversation with Mateus from Moby, and we talked about the difference in tokens, right? You have two sides of the bucket, right? You have the store of value tokens, you have the tokens that have network effects like layer 1s and layer 2s, and you kind of have a different bucket, which are like consumer apps, product like yours, which we're seeing different token models maybe work a little bit better for, like equity models or some sort of ownership models. How are you guys thinking about the token currently? To justify and maybe even grow the valuation Rain is sitting at right now. Curious your thoughts there. Because you also have an integration here where you say, well, this is a product that we can't have a million users using, or else you get diminishing returns, right? So it is gated, and like the token is valuable in the sense where, hey, if you want the product and if you want access to it, you do have to hold a lot of tokens, and you have to stake those or lock them away, whatever it might be. So just curious how you think about tokens in general. Is it a mix between maybe equity and utility? Is it solely utility? Is it a meme? Like, curious where your thoughts are, because the buckets, people are definitely dipping into the buckets now and saying, putting standards on what tokens need to look like.
Yeah. You ever see that dude in that interview in that meme, and he's just like doing like he's like crying, and it's like everyone's like, Dad, where were you when like this happened? You know what I'm saying? That's what's gonna happen with a lot of these ICM, not a lot, but a few of these ICM companies, and Rain is hopefully gonna be one of them. Definitely gonna be one of them. In 30 years, people will look back and be like, I wish I would have just, believed in a company that was trying to make progress and gave me unique exposure into their company early through their token.
Can you talk about what that exposure looks like?
Yeah, I think it's ICM. I think it's the ability to gain early exposure into a company. Like, we started off as an AI copy trader. Now we're here.
It's crazy.
There's a credit card on the screen.
Yeah.
So it's like we've just been pivoting, niching down as much as we can to constantly return value to our users and our holders as much as we can. And I think the future of companies like your show, like Moby, like us with Rain, are dying for the chance to prove that they and we deserve to operate on a level of something that has done an IPO in a couple years. If we can keep moving to unicorn status within a couple years, that your token is a unicorn token, that's our dream. So we're working on the everything model right now, and just picture that you could have an automated trade, autonomous agent bet on any kind of market for anything that exists in the world, and think of what that entails. That is what we're training right now. We have a unique partnership with it. So as the sports model is limited because of liquidity, the everything model won't be, in terms of reach, in terms of user that would appeal to, in terms of the applications and the partnership that we're looking at will service 2 billions of requests per day. I'll just leave it there. It's something we're working on right now very diligently, but it's completely different from the sports model. So I see the token gaining people exposure to something like this before it happens, before we come out with it. And then we start getting looked at not just as a token, but as a unicorn startup, and people realize, hey, maybe I don't do a safe, maybe I do a token, because look at these 3 or 4 unicorns that popped up from ICM over the last 2 years. That's what we want.
So you're building. Sorry, go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I would say I directionally agree with you here, of course, Rainey, and I think you're absolutely on it. One of the challenges we've seen with this is you look at the Padre and other examples. It's like, you know, let's say someone comes to you with $100 million. Hey, Rainey, love what you've built. Here's $100 million to give me the IP. They kind of do their thing, gate it, and say this is just for us to use privately. And then the token holders are kind of like wondering, like, where's the liquidity event for us? And, you know, not to kind of force you into any sort of question here, but like, how do you think about just the ownership component to of it? Like, so the token holders, is it just like it'll only be the Rain token ever? You get $100 million offer and you'd be like, nah, go buy the Rain token. Like, what would you say to token holders that kind of, you know, speak to Padres and the other examples of the world? Yeah.
Yeah. So another thing we're looking at is growing the Rain token outside of itself. We just had the migration, right? We're looking at acquiring other tokens. We're looking at growing so that the Rain umbrella is quite literally that, an umbrella. So with a future migration, let's say in a year, we could actually merge 10 to 15 different tokens that we acquired into one super token, and kind of redefine the company and its foundations. We're forming like an offshore company right now with our legal. So yeah, I'll cap it at that. But we definitely have our eyes on the future and how to make it more of an investment instead of I just hold the token and it doesn't really do anything other than go up in value. Hey, investor, you should just buy 100 mil worth of Rain. It'll be more complex than that for sure. I agree with you. And we're definitely trying to prepare for the future. We're looking at acquiring companies, acquiring tokens at smaller market caps. We're looking at structuring the offshore company so that the offshore foundations, LabsCo can foundations and the LabsCo can operate in a way to where we can accept VC funding. We can have our own kind of not IPO, but if we wanted it, we could in a sense do that. I don't think we do that. We're looking at something completely different, and I'm not going to talk about that. But yeah, I hope I answered some of your question. If I didn't, let me know. I'll try again.
Okay. Well, I want to talk about some of these other products because, like you said, you started as a meme coin trading agent, went to prediction markets, partnered with MoonPay, migrated to Pump Fun. Now you have
had a Believe side quest, which blew up. The Believe portion of that blew up. So,
yeah, but what's like, talk to me about the Neo card. What else are you guys building outside of just the, I guess you could call it the core product? You said you wanted to build an ecosystem here, which is important to you. I'm assuming the token will be a key feature of all of these, is what it sounds like. Can you tell us about what else you're working on?
Yeah. So, think if there was a Neo currency that powered a good majority of people here in maybe the US or Europe, Asia, Africa. Just think if there was a new kind of currency that enabled people to autonomously earn. We're shifting to AI automation actually becoming real. We've been hearing about it for like 20 years now. The shift is actually happening, and I think a lot more people are going to start coming on chain looking for their next check. And I think that in a world where Elon's trying to advocate for universal high income instead of even universal basic income, something like this Neo card is needed, because we're building a whole ecosystem where you can earn without lifting a finger. You have to have the initial investment, though. That's the kicker. But you can also spend anonymously, and we've partnered with a couple of companies to help do that. MoonPay funds the Rainmaker accounts and our wallets, but Radar.fund shields transactions to where you can't link the funds on chain. You can see how much the amount is, but it's impossible using ZK proofs to link who actually funded the card, who actually funded the Rainmaker account. That obviously has a huge implication for taxes and things like that. And it's not illegal, but it's definitely a gray area. And I think we'll start to see some regulations around it, but we hope to stay ahead and stay on the edge. So what we're building
shout
here-
out Radar too, by the way. They're friends of the show.
I was about to say good friends of the show, and a lot of people are starting to use their technology.
Yeah,
do you have like I'm seeing it a lot. A lot of
What's
people we
the
get
alpha
on.
there with Radar? What's
Yeah.
going on?
Radar is awesome. We actually entered their hackathon, and we've been kind of like homies ever since. And they reached out. They're like, "You should use the tech," and we're like, "We'd love to." And we built it into the stack, and it functions really well. They also set up a shielded pool for Rain. So if you want to buy Rain anonymously, you can. You can't sell it anonymously yet because we don't want people to just like, oh, I can go and sell $3 trillion anonymously. You'd still have to do it on chain, but you can buy Rain that way. They've been amazing. So yeah, I mean, just having this stack of privacy first cards where you don't have any friction in creating them is huge, because you can spend your earnings directly that the autonomous agent gives. And I think that is something that is built for the future versus building a system for the past. I think it's completely futuristic, and it's something a lot of people will want to use and have, and will be the new meta of just, yeah, I'm earning autonomously, I'm not doing anything, but it's extra money at the end of the month. Also, along with, yeah, I can spend it here on this card if I choose to, because it's immediately available in the same balance. But also not being able to link it to my agent that goes out and buys or sells, my Rainmaker account, or my funding source. Even if I were to buy it with a credit card with MoonPay, I'd be able to link it on chain to what I just bought. I think that's pretty cool.
I think that's pretty cool too. What's also pretty cool is officially integrated with the NHL, or the NHL into Rainmaker platform. Talk to me about this. Let's go. So now what? I can trade NHL. I can watch Sidney Crosby put belt to ass against anyone else.
Yeah, I just think it's mental that more people don't know, like, fighting is allowed. Is like, that's always been one of like the things that's attracted me to the NHL. And as a kid, I can't skate for shit, but I can go out there and hit somebody on football, and I love that. But yeah, I think just growing up as a kid playing Gretzky all
There
the
we
time
go.
on my PSP. Oh, nice.
Got my hockey stick
The
here.
kid's
you know,
Canadian, so
I'm
he's
from
a big.
Canada, and I have it right in the studio because it's just a little homage there.
Oh, let's go.
Josh
You
still
know-
plays, man. Josh runs the beer leagues.
Oh, wow. That's crazy, dude.
That's right. I do play hockey actively, so not
I
great
just-
at it.
This weekend, I was up in Boston for a Boston College Providence game, which, by the way, Providence swept them. So that was pretty lit. We got to see my buddy up there. So, dude, it's hockey, man. It's exciting, fast paced, physical. Like, wait, what's not to like about it?
Dude, in Italy, Canada, America game is going to be wild, and it's happening in February, and it's all NHLers, all the best
Awesome.
players in the world. So
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, and also what I like about it is it's just not too cluttered in terms of there aren't a lot of models or bots operating there. When you look back at the data, you can kind of see that it's like more of a pure sport, whereas like the American, NFL, there's so many bots, so many automations, so many stacks, so many institutions operating there. They've operated for a really long time. So us breaking into this space is we get to operate with a little bit more freedom and a little bit more stealth in terms of how our models execute when they buy, sell, enter, exit, take profit. And it's a little bit smoother than all the other sports that are more like American based, even though it's pretty big here in America.
Is there some erraticality to hockey? Because hockey is very, very random, it feels like,
Yes.
compared to like, baseball, there's so much data, and, basketball, you can model out a bunch of things, controlled environment. But hockey, man, like, hockey's tough. You only get a handful of goals a game, if that. And yeah, I don't know what you think about that.
100%. Like the scoring reminds me of soccer in a way, like with the goals. But yeah, it's much more erratic in terms of like the underdogs and betting on the underdogs, and modeling that data is much more rewarding than any sport we've ever modeled. I'll say that the returns on hockey are way freaking higher, though. Way higher, because the not the volatility, but yeah, the unpredictability makes betting on higher stakes much more rewarding. So if you know what to look for, you'll be rewarded more often in hockey than basketball, for sure. In basketball, a losing underdog model, could win in hockey.
Interesting. We have Crypto Ninja asking a question. I think maybe some clarification on this. He said, what value will Rain holders gain from the acquisition? We were talking about acquisitions, mergers, acquisitions, maybe VC capital coming in. I guess the question is, hey, if you guys were to get acquired, what would the Rain holders get from the whole thing?
Oh, interesting. I think Rain is looking to do the acquisitions. I don't know if they understood me correctly, but we're looking to do the acquisitions of other tokens. So the value that they would get would be more exposure to other companies and other projects that we kind of absorb into our token, and make it quite literally an umbrella.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. Yeah.
So you guys aren't interested in getting acquired?
I don't think so. No, I think we're trying to build this for the long term and build it how we see fit and do awesome shit. So I think that kind of stops happening when you're acquired. Not all the time, but sometimes.
Fair enough. What about a Docs? You're at 21 million market cap now. I think this has proven to be a pretty successful project, experiment, whatever you want to call it. Or do we get to see Mr. Rainey's face? Now you said you played football, you played hockey, you played basketball, all this stuff. I want to see, do we have a 6'4", Giga
Are you
Chad
going
on
to turn the
line?
camera on here and say hi or what?
No. I don't think we'll ever see me be doxxed, and I think it's better that way. I think it would just be a distraction.
Any reasoning behind that specifically?
Yeah. I've built other companies, and what I've done has been overshadowed by some of my previous accomplishments, and it's just kind of like people start looking at you in that kind of light. It'd be pretty boring too, I think. Just like, it's like, oh, cool, so let's keep going,
Got you.
The curious mind in us all is like, yo, we want to know. No, I'm kidding.
What we need next time we come on MTG, we got to at least get like a PFP or something, like a little Rainy
we gotta
PFP.
go. Any PFP, like just put the PFP
on. Sweet. I don't know, Josh. I'm pretty good on questions. I would love, just had Moby on, and they're debuting this new clipping feature. So now if you're on the Moby app and you search up Rain, you can see all the clips associated with it. Can we maybe test this out? Give a quick 1 to 2 minute clip here and just let us know like everything you guys have kind of been working on, maybe some of these recent partnerships, and just maybe condense it into a nice clip for the people.
Yeah. Okay. So we've put out our first commercial and brand film. We have been working with several companies that have done billions of dollars in volume. We have a couple left that we haven't exposed in terms of partnerships. Our retail launch is upcoming with a huge partnership. I'd say our biggest partnership yet. We're working on integrating our coverage feature into some pretty large companies, specifically wallets, like think Phantom Wallet or Soulflare Wallet. We could see an integration from Rain coming soon, which would be huge for us. But just trying to keep it general, you'll see an integration of our coverage and feature for insurance rollout to probably at least 100,000 people this year is our goal. In terms of just offering like manual betting or manual betters the insurance option, and that will obviously feed back into our flywheel with Rain. We're working on the everything model, which will trade a lot more than sports, a lot more markets, and it's done pretty well in the back test, and we're rolling that out soon. We're working our way into the Neo card payments too, to where you can spend anonymously without KYC, incredibly low friction. You know, that's incredibly important for a lot of crypto people, to where they don't want KYC, they don't want the friction, they don't want the government peering into every single thing that they do. So that's important to us as well, and we found an interesting loophole there. Yeah, so we're working on a lot. We're working on bringing the system together and exploring like the center of AI meets prediction markets meets neo banking, and I think that's going to be incredibly interesting. We're covering a lot, and we're going to keep moving forward and higher.
Well, I think that puts a nice little bow on the conversation here. We covered a ton. There's going to be a lot of clips going out from that. We appreciate your time, Rainey, as always. I don't know, Josh, if you have any last minute questions.
The only thing I gotta say, Rainey, is we had you on back when we did in, I don't know, August.
40
sidelined. I've been sidelined on Rain. I've had it on my watch list forever. It's been the most painful sideline ever, and it's not because I don't believe in you or anything like that. It's just, man, there's so many like shiny objects and like. Yeah, so congrats on your success. It's been really awesome to see you be successful and do your thing, and obviously the token performance speaks for itself. So
awesome. Thank you guys so much, and hopefully you won't be sidelined anymore and we can figure something out.
Hopefully.
And Randy, on a one closing thought I got for you here. You guys have all the analytics, you have the numbers, you have the lines. Would you guys ever want to be the house per se? Would you ever want to be the casino? And like, is that even a thought?
Great question.
I think it ends with us being that for sure.
All right. On that note, great conversation, buddy. We appreciate you coming on as always. So we'll talk soon. We'll definitely be in the DM, see what we can cook up here.
Thanks, guys. Peace.
All right, brother. Peace.
Dude, wild. Honestly, wild.
This is the Rainey chart, by the way. Rainey chart.
Oh.
And well, we just said something to candle it. Oops, sorry guys. But 18 million was at like 21 million with a high of 27. We forgot to ask about the migration of Pump.Fun, creator fees. There was just so much to cover there. It was kind of hard to get it all. But wow, that was pretty good. So they're expanding the ecosystem, it seems, in many ways. Yeah. Any closing comments on that? Or maybe we get scrolling on the bottom here, we get a prediction market segment powered by Rainey, and we have them giving us live reads on the stream. Who knows? But that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, look, a really interesting product. I've not used it personally, and I need to. And I need to dig into this because I think it's cool to have a credit card that or whatever, a neobank that just is earning fees from these markets. Again, they're just like any other market out there. You're pricing risk, pricing potential outcomes. Yeah. Wild. Great. Yeah. Wild conversation. I mean, ever since we had him on at 400K, I was like, all right, this guy's doing some interesting things. He's like, yeah, I got 3 people working with me. I'm like, man, it's just 3 crack devs, I guess. Crushing it.
Let's go. Here, maybe to close it off, we got to play the video. We played it all in the background.
Sure.
But I don't think we've listened to it with volume once. I saw it earlier. It's pretty sick. So here we go.
They built the system to beat you. The odds, the lines, the house edge. All designed so you lose over time. But you show up anyway. Week after week. Real money. Real conviction. Because you see what the crowd doesn't. The value hidden in plain sight. Most people bet with their heart. You bet with your head. And now you have something the bookies never planned for. Tools that read data faster than any line can move. Models that calculate edge in milliseconds. Intelligence that doesn't sleep, doesn't tilt, doesn't chase. You're not some degenerate gambler. You're the sharp money now. While Wall Street trades stocks, you're trading outcomes. Front-running markets that haven't caught up to what's possible. The arena is live. The stakes are real, and you're armed with superhuman precision. This is the new edge, the underdog's superpower.
I love how it was all in the rain. Cars going, people running. That's good.
Yeah, it's sick.
That video's sick. Tough video. Great production. There we go. We'll tie it off with a bow there, guys. Hope you enjoyed both of those segments. I think we got some really good alpha out of both of those. So, Maru, I need MCG to analyze Pump Fun ICM potential winners with Rain's Revenge. As in have him on and analyze with him. We do have to get Rain back on, I guess, and just see what's up with him, what he likes, doesn't like, etc. Ninja, we can definitely check out the 15-minute. We did that at the start of the stream. We typically start with macro, but I'll tab over real quick for you so you can see. So give me 1 second. We'll keep that quick though. Yeah, I mean we're definitely nuking again. We talked about this earlier. A lot of this is tied to geopolitical tensions and whatnot. So we're looking in, these lower ranges for something here potentially to happen. But yeah, I mean, Bitcoin's nuking. So another day in paradise, baby. On that note, we have a few things I mentioned that I want to talk about. We got this new Surge Launchpad that's coming out I want to chat about. We got a conversation I had with Profit on just this Bags app situation and what he thinks about those, I think, which is a really interesting conversation I want to have here with Josh and with you guys. So let me clear up my screen here because I had a lot going on.
And we have a couple Bags app projects on tomorrow. So we'll get to hear firsthand from the deployers or claimers themselves, kind of, what's going on. One of the gentlemen actually has a really solid background too. So yeah, we'll dig into it.
Yeah. And again, guys, here's the thing with these Bags app. We try to schedule a week in advance. When there's stuff that's hot and jumping and popping, we might schedule one day and the next day it may be rugged. Like, we got no way to tell this stuff. Of course, we're here to just bring the information. You guys, you make the decisions. So again, we got some pushback for, I think it was called Huggy or something. They're like, are you guys going to have the Huggy dev on?
Yeah, I don't know. It was $2 million at the time when we tried to book it. So
yeah. So you got to understand, this stuff changes so fast. It's not always going to be.
And we're not the arbiters of truth. We ask the questions to find the truth. That's the whole point of this. And as always, our loyalty is to you guys in the chat, not to, necessarily any individual project that comes through. We want the best outcomes for the community, and that's how you build long-term trust. So yes, Bags app kind of imploded. That bubble popped over the weekend, but we need to dig in. What's real here? Are these founders gonna, integrate to their wallet or into their app. Like we talked about, one of them, we issued a warning on Bags app on Thursday that, hey, Sherry, I believe it was,
Sherry Yang, yeah.
Sherry Yang took the money, didn't do anything with it, just said, hey, thanks guys for your donation. So
Yeah. And again, like I'll also reinforce, look, our opinions will never be bought. It doesn't matter if we have Meteor as a sponsor. We've been talking about Pump Fund half this stream. It doesn't matter, like, if we have Moby as a sponsor, we're always going to give our honest feedback. So the truth is, guys, our opinions cannot be bought, and I want to reinforce that tremendously. Anyone we have as a sponsor is because we like their product, we have faith in it, we've done our due diligence, we've seen it, we've talked to the founders, and we seem to believe it'll be good. So just some reference there, but you're right. The Bags app bubble kind of imploded. And so I had this conversation with Profit on Twitter very briefly. Again, another great friend of the show. And it's really interesting because I gave this feedback to Believe back in the day. And the loyal OG guys here might remember me saying this exact stuff, which I'm going to reiterate here. But Profit said, using Bag apps mechanisms for ICOs could be kind of cool. Here's a $5 million raise waiting for you, but you need to assign IP to a market controlled entity before you can start spending it. So what's being said here is kind of, let's take that same Bags model.
Dude, we talked about this exact same thing on Thursday.
Bro. And so let's take this Bags model. Let's raise for them. And hey, by the way, if you want to claim this money, you got $1 million to $5 million waiting for you. We love your product. We're showing you a sign of faith. This is your chance to take it by the head and make something real out of it. But you have to assign the IP. You have to go through the contracts, assign the treasury to it. And, the community is going to have a tieback. So imagine you go out and do the same thing you did for Bag apps, except raise $50, $100 million. And then the only way for these guys to get it now is they actually have to make the decision. Well, am I willing to assign this stuff, the IP and rights over to holders for this amount of money to build out my dream? I think it's compelling. I think it's super, super fascinating. And again, I had this suggestion for Believe app. And so I'll kind of read you through what I said here. He said, Profit said, we've considered doing this before, but decided against it because I feel like it's hard to get people excited if there's only a low probability of the project being real. I said, was thinking exactly that. It attracts the best builders, forces them to commit rather than cashing out and running off with no obligation to holders. Not sure why this hasn't been done yet. I made this exact suggestion for Believe app months ago. And of course, I tagged my little thread I did here, basically saying everything's an advertisement for ownership coins. Here's what Bags should and should not do. Why Bags app doesn't work sustainably for a long period of time. And so definitely worth going and reading through that, but there was a little context there.
And there's all sorts of models here. Like you could look at athlete sponsorship models as like kind of a parallel. It's right. Person gives sum of money to athlete has to post it a certain amount of times on their, Instagram profile for a certain period of time. Like the I guess requirements are documented well. They're in a legally enforced contract between two counterparties, Bags, whatever LLC that represents itself and all the token holders of the claiming, and then the person who's doing the claiming. So, and as long as holders, the whole point of this is just giving clarity to holders of what they own, right? Like you want these projects to perform well. You want gas to perform well. It's good for your ecosystem, good for on-chain, good for Meteor, good for Bags, etc. So yeah, we like these models.
But it's a really cool concept. And again, I remember having Stig on back when Believe was doing this whole thing. There was an issue with people saying, Believe launches would, number one launch, get really sniped up because they'd be bundled by the team. And then there would be no further interest by the founders after they got that initial bag from the launch, and the following days they just kind of leave. And so I made the suggestion to the Believe team. I made it publicly too to anyone willing to adopt it. I said, look, you can take this model that Bags app kind of has where they make all these fees, but in order to claim these fees, you have to actually assign some sort of rights to holders. You have to make some commitments. There has to be some contractual agreements in place. Josh was right. We said this on Thursday. It seems so obvious. And isn't it interesting? Some of the best business in the world come from things that are just so obvious in hindsight, but no one just did them. And I think this specific model here, where you can actually go and raise money for people based on a good idea, and if they don't end up claiming, you can just get a refund, or maybe at any point in time you can get a refund, and once they claim, then you're barred from that refund or whatever it might be. They have to tweak this model up, but I think it's super fascinating. love to hear what you guys think in the comments, because I could see myself going and raising money for a company. Of course, I think there would need to be discretionary caps. I think there would need to be like a set market cap it would launch at. Like again, it would need to be some tweaking, but I could see myself putting money in an ICO for let's say Gastown as an example, because I think Gastown is really cool. This is not in my actual words, I'm just using it as an example. Hey, say I think Gastown's really cool. It's raised $3 million, set to launch at a $4 million market cap once you factor in liquidity and whatever the hell else you want to factor in. But hey, I could definitely see people be interested in that upside for stuff like that under the guise that he claims, and again, assigns IP rights to token holders. So really fascinating. Like, I'd be willing to take that bet again, especially if my money's going to get a refund if he never claims. Of course, you would just have the opportunity cost, in which case maybe they would implement some sort of DeFi looping mechanism to where, well, your money's locked up in the ICO waiting. You could go and also try for other ICOs or invest it or whatever. That's where you get risky if two people claim, well, you haven't paid attention and now you're out for money you don't really have. But really interesting. I digress. Josh, you have any thoughts on that to close that subject? Josh? Okay, I don't know if I lost Josh. I don't know if it's me. I don't know if it's Josh, but I guess he had no thoughts. Nonetheless, let me check my phone real quick, because I have no clue if this is my connection or his connection. Bear with. Okay, it's him. All right, this is refreshing. It's my Wi-Fi is actually not cooked, but nonetheless, we're rocking it out solo until Josh comes back, I guess. Oh, he's back.
I don't know, just nuking my bandwidth, computer nuking. I don't know.
It happens. Do you want to give us closing thoughts on that subject? Did you hear the whole thing? You understand?
Yeah, no, I think we covered it for the most part. I just want to go back to we saw that huge red candle in rain. It totally got eaten up. And we're back to 20 mil. I just think it's funny. I don't know, like, if people think front running the stream or something like that, or what people are doing, but
yeah, I don't know, but that is a massive candle. It got eaten up. Liquidity here, there, like 565K in volume. I wish I would have asked about the fees. How much are they making from fees? Because if they're making 1%, I mean, right there alone, they just made $5.6 thousand today just off this. Like, you don't need funding. You're bootstrapped if you're making that kind of money every single day. Of course, at some level, but yeah, you're right.
Let's see when we announced Rainmaker on the show. I'm just trying to go back to the schedule. So this came out on Sunday, I believe.
Which would have been what, the 19th?
No, this came out 18th at 3 p.m.
So call it around this zone here. Yeah, I mean, it definitely went up a lot since we announced it. I don't know if that was people front running us necessarily, or just maybe some of the updates. Nonetheless, it pumped prior to the show, got on the show. We're trying to get this right, guys, because we now, and of course, there's no guarantee that people are going to come on here and say something bullish. He could have come on here and said, yeah, we're sunsetting Rain and we're selling, and by the way, token holders get nothing, and it could have nuked. So I wouldn't, like, it's not my advice to go and front run people that are coming onto the show, but seems to have been
yeah, please
seeing.
do not trade around the show announcement, because the challenge is we want to announce it. We want people to know, oh, hey, my project's going to be on Tuesday. Let me put it in my calendar so I show up. So that's what we want. The intention is not to make this some sort of game that's happening. So
no, but obviously, obviously that it's going to happen. Look, if I didn't have a relationship with a lot of these people, or keep up to them, normally if I saw someone was coming on MCG, I knew they are notorious for getting pumps. I would probably go and do a lot of due diligence before they come on the show, and be either ready or invested or sidelined.
And we've very firmly said no to people, by the way. We've said no for exactly this reason, because we suss out that, hey, first time on the show, that's one thing, but you come back on and it's like, okay, what's going on here? Rain, I mean, they were on the show at 400K. So we're long good with this, but yeah, it's just, trying to we're trying to make it so that, don't trade around this. This is all about you finding information from founders. That's it.
Yeah. And again, like we're trying to get whoever's hot on. In some cases, that'll be the new Bags app token, which is at 300, 400K. And like typically we have a 500K minimum. It's all situational. So we might go under that, whatever. We're going to use our discretion. Maru, what's up? Some, including me, afraid FOMO'd rain and waiting for the dip, and some afraid FOMO rain and panic sell. You're saying after the announcement? Yeah. Or after the dip. I'm not really sure. Yeah, MCG is where I find new / existing projects come up, what they build, and progress. Good. I mean, look, that's what we're here for. Again, we absolutely want to deliver the best content, but it is not an endorsement to have someone on the show. Although
best thing you could do is add it to a watch list. Just add it to a watch list and follow it. At the end of the day, I say add to a watch list. There you go.
Yeah. So, but also like Moby, like let's talk about that really quick, because that seemed to be a conversation that was interesting. That didn't
like
quite get priced in.
On the other hand, you have something like Moby where he casually dropped, the 1.3x revenue or market cap to revenue or whatever. And yeah, now this is obviously candled from our show notes. MCG effect right there, maybe a little in play.
I already have people hitting me up in DMs and chats saying, yo, this is kind of crazy. This is some alpha Dom. Let's see what's up. So that was some alpha. I mean, he said there's a multiple on the market cap currently for annualized return revenue of like 1.4 something. I forget exactly what he said, but nonetheless, that would put annualized revenue over like $4 million. So it's doing well. It seems like they're just trying to wrap it up now. Like it just got started a month or two ago. So those are good initial numbers. The question you have to ask yourself, is this initial numbers off of the hype from the launch, or is this sustainable and going to grow? Of course, that's for you to decide. It's now been 2 months. Their growth has been consistent. They're doing well. Moby sponsored our show. We like them. We use their product. I actually do, like, genuinely, all things aside, them being a sponsor or not, I think it's a really cool feature to have the AI analysis, the clips, anything I want on that specific token, I can find out in like seconds without going through Telegram chats, Twitter. It's just kind of right there. And I can make the bid. I think it's very, very interesting. So,
and
like,
disclosure, we own tokens here too. So
yeah, we do. All right. Nonetheless, I digress. Let's move on. We just talked about bags with Profit. So to proceed that conversation here, let's do a little experiment. Okay, so I got all these bag tokens that Ton made out this post. He goes, new power rankings for bags AI coins. Got some pretty good views. I bookmarked it, of course. Let's just go through each of these and see where they are today, just to highlight the pace at which this stuff can move. And again, I made my post earlier and I said, look, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, right? That's the definition of insanity here. And so we've seen this with bags, right? This exact same life cycle and playbook with bags. I think it's a really interesting mechanism Bags is doing, where they basically onboard new deployers by giving them funding and fees. It's a very good, I mean, look, nothing interests people more than money on their doorstep, right? If there's money on the doorstep, you're going to open the door a lot of time and take the money. The only caveat is you have to make it to where it's fair for everyone else. Because like Josh said, we're not here to donate. No one's here to donate. And, so I think Bags might have a future. I really do. I think Finn's a hard worker. He's been sticking around for a while. Bags definitely might have a future. They've crushed it on multiple times now, but they need to establish something to make it more sustainable, because you can crush for weeks at a time, but you want to crush for years at a time. It has to be sustainable. And so we need to make it so the holders don't get burnt, while also introducing new deployers and really cool new technology, which Bags has been really good at doing without some crazy BD pipeline. Right? I don't think Finn or the Bag teams is going to hackathons in San Francisco, New York, and Boston, and finding, which is, by the way, the hub of investments right now. 95% of investments are coming out of those cities in the United States. But I don't think they're on feet on the ground looking for companies there. I think what's happening is, like, again, it gets this natural traction. People have no idea about Bags, and it's a really cool way to show off this new model. And clearly people have found a lot of success in it and think it's really cool, a new interesting way to fundraise. But can you add those protections like Profit said? So on that note, let's do an experiment. We're going to go through some of these tokens, which is the power rankings from Mr. Ton here, and see where they were when he posted this on the 18th 2 days ago versus today. We'll start with gas. Just got to see, guys. This is a little research and analysis here. Okay. Okay. Christmas tree. Christmas
It's
is
the
over.
worst kind of Christmas tree. It's so over.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's over for gas token. It's at 758K market cap. When he posted this on the 18th, 2 days ago, it was at, 14K. I'm not even sure why. Honestly, he posted it after I think it already rugged, but I digress. Next, he has GSD. GSD. And,
who's Ton, by the way?
I actually haven't. I'm not familiar with him. Here's GSD. Okay, and this one's actually held a little bit better. This is good shit.
Get shit done.
Get
Good
shit done. Get shit done. I've reached out to them too. I would love to get them on the show. This is held up pretty well. 3.15 million market cap. Got up to 8 million. Slow burn here on this. Looks like slow burn. People are like, hopefully he adopts. Maybe he adopted here. People are like, this is awesome. And, rest is history. So GSD, get shit done, is still looking good. So I would scratch gas off the list. Add GSD as one to watch. CMEM. I think CMEM is another one actually doing well still. So good start. Let's see.
What's the ticker, Dom?
CMEM. CMEM. Okay, so wow. I did see the guy from CMEM posted the other day, basically just saying, hey, this is me, blah, blah. And it looks like that candled it up to nearly 2 million, 1.8 million, but since kind of coming down here with the market, it's still alive. This is actually one I'd be more interested in looking at, right? It had a run. People found lots of interest in it. Gas token rug caused a lot of fear in the markets. Markets are just bad in general, but the guy seems to still be here. And again, I'm not endorsing this token. I have to look into it more. But again, it's starting to fall back into this range where now we actually might have some good value here at 700K. So CMEM is one to definitely add on the bags list as well. So far on the bags list now, we have added GSD and CMEM. I think Ralph is also a pretty good one. Let's check out Ralph. I think this caught a dip as well from the gas token. So let's see. And I'm going to go to the 4 hour here. Yeah, Ralph at 10 million market cap. Reached out to him. We're in communication. I think he has since stopped responding though, so we got to tag Ralph and make sure he gets on MCG. This is at a $10 million market cap. Went up to 47 million, nearly $50 million market cap. It was basically gas and Ralph were like the two side by sides. Interesting story here. This is back at 10 million, coming back to support. I would say, again, finding this interesting if we fall back into support here. Maybe even extend this a little bit up to like there. So anywhere below like 6-7 million, I probably, get really interested. I'll start looking into it more. So Ralph is coming back, not fully dead, definitely on a big dip. Remember, Believe kind of went through this life cycle. You have the token's initial run up, big dip, sustained for like a while, a week or two. I was on the timeline shouting, everyone's crazy. We have Dupe. We have some of the biggest companies to have ever launched, generating good revenue, good ARR, sitting at super low prices. And then after something caught and everyone picked up on it, the entire ecosystem ran. Could we see something similar to that with bags? And I would actually say timestamp this. We can call that back in later, because if these projects are good and they have reason to run, I think they'll probably, someone will come back from the dip. Think about this like the dot-com bubble. You had a ton of projects run from the dot-com bubble. It was just hype. Anything .com, web was going crazy. What happened? You got the bubble popped, everything nuked. But that was the best buying opportunity for some of those good projects that came out of it that sustained into the future, being some of the, biggest companies in the world today. I'm not saying that this is of that extent, of course, but I'm saying a similar life cycle might happen here. Okay. On a much sped up time frame. That's Ralph. Virality wise, same ones. Okay. So actually, he nailed these pretty good. Gas obviously is dead, but I think these three look pretty solid right now. Ralph keeping the most viral thing, and it's the best coin so far. These projects are evolving every day. Power rankings can change anytime. I think the big thing about Ralph too is they went viral in the Web2 community. Like the developer community, AI community went crazy about this. Local had a place in this, but unfortunately they didn't accept the fees. So this is gone. Gru is someone we have coming on, has no place in the power ranking. Boom. So there's some kickback on Gru. Why does he not like Gru? We have Gru coming on tomorrow to talk to, and they're down significantly here. 300K market cap is what they're sitting at. Although not long ago it was at 2.5, making a bit of a name for itself. It's now plunged below support. So either people are scared, they think this is nothing, and they're giving up on it. Will this find a bottom anytime soon and then repump? Is it something like that? Is it going to follow that life cycle? Tune in, I guess, tomorrow to find out. But yeah, not much information outside of that. But my friend Ton here, not actually my friend, I don't know him, says Gru has no place in the power ranking. So interesting. Not sure why he has that opinion. Would love for him to elaborate further on that. It doesn't mean I'll be right, and the outcome will reflect this. I'm just a single person with thoughts, mostly wrong, sometimes right for good. Just being sometimes right is enough, though. True that. MFR said the most base devs project out of all the bags. Coin has no place in the power rankings. FUD will fuel Gruel. No FUD. I just spoke with experts. It's the outcome of my personal opinion and research. Not everyone has to agree on a single coin or a view. Not every opinion is a FUD. And just because you like it, Gru doesn't become a good project. And just because I don't like it doesn't become a bad project. Stop talking everything as an attack. Stop taking everything as attack. Stop calling others MFers out of nowhere just because they didn't like a coin year end. I would still like for him to elaborate on why. Is this
The classic token holder fight right here.
yeah.
Go to MCG and the pin and go look at the dev on Gru. Go check out his X profile right now. I think we're gonna find out more about the project specifically, but the gentleman who's built this, he had some pretty big exits.
Well, I think that's maybe why it pumped. So we see here, Ton said, and because I want to elaborate, he seems to have elaborated here, spoke with a lot of successful IRL dev friends about thriving bags projects, including Gru. Now they are on board because of it. And they said, if this project can hit 2.5 million in market cap, anything can. So again, the dev is really good, but he says maybe the Gru code is just weak. They are incredibly surprised. This is above 60K market cap. Not sure why he chose that arbitrary number. I can't read code base. I'm not an expert, so I asked experts. All 6 devs I spoke said the same thing. I trust them. Still not my opinion, though, just an expert's eye. We are friends with unlimited amounts of developers, so maybe we'll ask them what they think. But his reasoning seems to be, look, the project in itself is weak code. It's maybe just a weak project. However, Josh made a point, like, is this thing running because of the devs just that background?
And at the end of the day, and one thing I've learned in crypto is you're betting on people even more so than technology. And over time, the bet on the people or the person behind it will probably be more profitable than what they're doing, right? Like, look, Rainy, for instance, started with something. He's like 3 pivots in, and his token went from 400K to 20 million. So a lot of what you're betting on was not him, or not, sorry, what he was building necessarily. It was like, can he execute himself, right? And continue to build something valuable. But yeah, if you go to his profile, so go to highlights, you'll see the updated schedule.
Okay.
This is alpha. Always
Alpha.
go to highlights. Go look at
Sometimes
his
the schedule gets
profile.
lost.
Yeah, not Jason Keene, the Ozak guy.
All right,
Yeah.
Zach. We got Zach here, who I was speaking
Zach.
with earlier. We got him coming on.
Co-founder Code Arena acquired, and Slingshot Crypto, which was another big product.
So he's familiar with crypto. Now it's sunsetting,
Yeah,
but he got acquired.
he also co-founded Ether.org or whatever that is.
Wow. So interesting. I'm assuming that this got initial traction because there was a bunch of traders that don't know how to code. Maybe they saw, they're like, wow, this guy's huge. He's building something. Let's bid it up. Then maybe developers came in and funded it. I don't have any way to look at this until I just talk to him tomorrow. Yeah. So More on this tomorrow. We'll see. On that note, on the ownership model, we covered some bags here. Here's the MFers again. Avocado Toast has something that obviously I resonate with, and I think everyone listening probably does too. But Avocado Toast says MFers would rather go out of their way to unsolicitedly raise money for a project they're not involved in or frankly care about, give away said money to the dev with no strings attached, hope they will take on the responsibilities of managing / promoting the token / marketing, community engagement, communications, etc., along with all the legal and reputational risks the dev never asked for or wanted, rather than buying ownership coins where the founders literally proactively signed up for all these things upfront within the confines of the platform that enforces the rules, holder rights, and treasury management, and then wonder why they're poor. I made this point earlier. On my post, I referenced, I've probably outtraded 99% of Twitter just sitting in and holding very few ownership coins in the last year over the guys that are chasing and running around. Guys, just be logical. Avocado Toast is renowned in terms of he's a very smart trader. He comes from a Web 2 background. I would follow him. But again, like, you guys are going out, giving people unsolicited money, expecting them to take on all these responsibilities when they never asked for it or wanted it, rather than buying ownership coins where they signed up for all of these things proactively. They're interested in this. And then he says, and you wonder why you're poor. But it's true. It's true. You have to be disciplined. And I think he makes a great point here. We have platforms that are built for this with great technology, great products on it, and people are fading. It's only a matter of time, but every day we see a new advertisement for ownership tokens for this exact reason. Again, not to just continue referencing it, but we went back to this conversation with Moby and we put things in buckets. And clearly 99% of the projects on Solana in crypto in general do not fit in the same bucket that these L1s and store of values have. They fit in their own bucket, which is in order for them to be valuable, they need to have some sort of equity tie because they don't have some of the same aspects that these other tokens do. So there's a little bit of nuance to it, but it's coming, man. This ownership meta we've been talking about is coming. Any thoughts on that, or should I just keep moving through it, Josh?
No, just link me this post. I mean, I covered this yesterday too, by the way. But yeah, these are good reminders for everyone.
I will link you this post right now. Check private chat. I will, I guess, and to close on that too, I had a conversation with Nate, and we'll talk about Fitted here, I guess, because it leads into it here. Fitted has spent the last 7 months building at the intersection of crypto, AI, consumer apps, and RWAs. Within that time frame, they have built the world's first digital closet AI stylist resale marketplace. And I made a post about this as well, which is why I commented on this to support. And you can see here they partnered with TaskRabbit. They just went live with their token utility, sitting at like 1.2 million last I checked. So it felt undervalued for what it was. But my comment here was, I said, I would really love to see them adopt the launch on Sora Street Foundation model paired with some sort of token network effect, like burns for marketplace usage, in-app purchases, etc. Steps in the right direction, though. And Nate responded by saying, burning tokens is not a good use of resources, in my opinion. It doesn't really do anything to aid price action, revenue sharing. I think it is much better option. All of the resources going into burning could be going into creating more value instead. This is a take we've heard from plenty of people. Burning tokens is oftentimes actually bearish because it shows the company doesn't have money, doesn't have anything better to put their money towards other than buying back their own stock. Okay. So this is something we've seen a lot of recently, but I think you misconstrued what I was saying. So I gave him a thorough response. He said, I'm not saying the burning should come from buybacks. I'm suggesting the burning comes from network effects like token usage within their marketplace. In this unique case, it works for Fitted to have some sort of network effects with the tokens because they have a marketplace. As one value add. Okay. So, and if tokens had fundamental value, equity, every burn would have a scarcity effect, making everyone's holdings more valuable by nature. This is what I think a lot of people are missing about this. I don't think there's one answer fit all. One size shoe fits all. One answer is correct. I think these tokens need to have equity as the underlying fundamentals, then also pair that with a network effect. We'll take the dollar, for example. The dollar used to be backed by gold, right? It was on the gold standard. So when you would barter with the dollar, rather than bartering with paper money that actually is kind of valueless, your dollar had backing. Now imagine every time you barter with the US dollar, I use 2% example, there's a 2% credit card processing fee sometimes when you go to places. By the way, just a ripoff. But imagine if you had your dollar and every time you spent, you would take a 2% credit card processing fee, except it was a 2% burn fee from that dollar. Well, now the less dollars that there are in circulation that get burned, the more valuable $1 to X amount of gold becomes, right? And so you actually have the scarcity effect where because the dollar is backed by something valuable, equity is the case I continue to make. Because the dollar is backed by something valuable, well, now every time it burns, it actually makes the dollars in circulation own more of the underlying asset, making the dollar intrinsically more valuable. Okay. And so this is where I think we need to get to. At some point, we get to a point where tokens represent equity, but also you can use them in app. You can use them for different network effects. You can use them for these things. And maybe there's a small burn that gradually makes the underlying equity more valuable, because what starts as maybe 100% equity because of network effects goes down to 90%, 80%, 70% over time. And again, making the people that hold the actual equity more valuable by nature. And again, it adds more value to your token. You don't have a, of course, as long as the company is doing well, you don't have a currency that is devaluing day by day, which is the case for lots of countries. So there's a few different reasons to do this. So I'm not going to read the rest of that because I kind of just made my point there. But you know, you'll not only buy the currency as a means to barter, but you'll buy it as a store of value because it's going to continue to go up, assuming that the network effects are large enough. And then you're also going to buy it because it has an equity tie. So you buy it as an investment in the company. You buy it because you know that there's going to be a supply getting burned over time. And you buy it as a store of value. So yeah, nonetheless, these are the direction I think we should head in with tokens. On that topic, Fitcoin made some big updates. Their 2026 plans, number one in the App Store, 1 million monthly active users. They're at 700K right now. They want major brands to hold Fitcoin in the treasury. They have the Fitcoin in-app integration, which just went live. I think step one of hopefully more. They want a data set valued at 1 billion plus. They want to onboard an A-list celebrity, and they want 1 billion views across platforms, which they're doing very well on. Let's check it out. Tonight, they have a 7 p.m. call. I would be there just to hear about these updates. If I can get on stage, I'll definitely be speaking. I reached out to Reed to see if he wanted to come on MCG. I don't think he saw my message, though. So they partnered with TaskRabbit, $1 billion company. They partnered with Poshmark, $1 billion company. And this was the big thing. Fitcoin is live inside Fitted. Send and receive, redeem for AI credits or Fitted Plus. 30% cheaper than Apple. All tokens spent are burned. So there is network effects there. And again, these are not buybacks. They're not buying back the tokens to burn it. People are spending tokens, and then the spent tokens are burned. That's bullish. It's good. Fitcoin utility coming this week. Just the beginning. I think I thought I saw a video released, but nonetheless, it's officially live. You can go download and redeem your Fitcoin in the settings tab now and start using it. Here we go. We can even see testing. So there you go. There's his wallet. You can send, receive, buy. You can redeem credits, 25 Fitcoin for 5 AI credits, you know, so on and so forth. Hopefully they enable it in the marketplace as well soon. I think there's a lot of use cases here. Again, why I go back to saying, I think some tokens work when you have network effect. I think others don't. In this case, a token really could be used a lot in the marketplace, you know, to buy and sell data, whatever. Still think it should have an equity backing, but interesting to take note of. So that's kind of my Fitcoin update. But Josh, I'll let you button. I have one more thing to cover after this, but I don't want to just take over here.
No, you're doing good.
Okay. Let's talk about Surge, guys. Here's a new launch pad that I'm really interested in. A few reasons I like this. And shout out to my boy Zinc. He's a great trader. He was washed for a little while, but he's back now. He's doing well. He put a $350,000.
You're washed until you're not. You're washed until you hit.
And so here, let me stop sharing. Let me reshare because I want to make sure you get the volume here because we're going to go into Surge.
And also that guy asking questions is like a very famous
very famous. I actually watched the whole video. He was up in Abu Dhabi for Finance Week when we were up there.
Oh, so, wow. Yeah, say less.
That's where he saw Chizak Powell here, the famous person that created Surge. So we'll get into it. I would recommend watching the video. His whole interview is pretty good. He's a smart guy. So I'll play this. Meet Surge CEO, Chizak Powell. He's famous. Interview with School of Hard Knocks is now live across 12 million plus views on YouTube and TikTok. So Here we go.
How old were you when you made your first billion?
How did you know that I made?
I know who you are, man. How old were you?
I was 39.
What happened?
I sold my company last year for over $1 billion.
What type of company was it?
It was an AI company. The opportunity is waiting for you, but for sure, it's not waiting for you in your bedroom or in your living room. For sure, there's no $100 million deal in your kitchen.
If me and you died tomorrow and you had one more message to leave with the younger generation, what would that be?
Go and create something. Write a poem, write a song, write a novel, write a piece of code, write a deck, build a website, but just bring something out of nothing.
How old were you when you made?
Cool interview. Few things to take away. He exited for $1 billion from his previous AI company. He's built a massive pipeline of AI companies. I think one of the largest in the world. You can see Powell just graduated from School of Hard Knocks yesterday. Key lesson: start building. We talked about my Giga Mania project at 1 billion AI Accelerate with the Saudi Gov. So it was a Saudi backed and bought project. And what it really takes to go in and create. Now it's time to scale Surge XYZ. What's interesting about Surge, and I have a whole thesis for you guys coming up, because they've spent so much time. And here you can see our platform is powered by Lalibba AI, the largest AI ecosystem housing. This is what's important: housing 240,000 AI builders, 200 plus yearly hackathons, and 4K AI startups. What's the biggest issue with startups, guys? Pipeline. We see can Soar, can Street, can Believe, can Bags, bring on the best deployers. It's pipeline. Surge does not have that issue, at least seemingly, because they have a massive, the largest in the world, potentially, community of AI researchers and developers. I'll even play this video too. Why not?
Everything else is legacy. So if you're not building towards AI native, you might just be priced out of the market.
Look at these backers, guys. OpenAI, Meta, NVIDIA. There's so many more. So look, hopefully that got you guys excited, because it got me excited when I saw it. The biggest issue with launch pads is their pipeline. This is at no shortage of distribution and deal flow. Also, they know what they want. They're not going and targeting defense tech. They're not going and targeting something else. They are specifically targeting AI startups, which we know 95% of dollars right now in VC are going towards. Interestingly enough, they also add that, hey, we understand users want ownership, right? We want to pioneer ICM specifically. We want ownership over these companies, not just some stupid token. So I'll get into Zinc's article, guys, and you're going to have to buckle up with me here because we're going to go through it. But I think this is very...
So wait. All right. Time out. So Surge, this platform is a crypto launch pad and has a token live now. Like, is that Surge token live?
Yes, and it's done very well. I guess I should have prefaced by this. I'm looking for an entry actively, guys, for what it's worth. I'm not in here. I'm actively looking for an entry on this. This is the token. It has been, again, Zinc was in this for a while. He was down like a couple $100,000, $100,000, $200,000. Nope, it is not on Base. It's on Solana. He was
what's
down
the
like
market cap
6 figures.
here? Okay, 44.
Current
right?
market cap 44 million. But he was down a couple $100,000 at like a $4 million market cap, $5 million market cap, and they rocketed from $4 or $5 million, $3, $4, $5 million up to let me change this to market cap because I was not reading that accurately. This rocketed from 15 to $17 million market cap to a 64 million. It's currently at a 44 million. So this is a size play. You can size into this one pretty good. It's got 5 million volume in the last 24 hours. But there's a lot of reason for this doing well. And I think 44 million is actually still very cheap if the launchpad can do well. We saw Believe run to 350, I believe. We saw some of these other ones really high. Pump Fund obviously is worth a ton. So I actually think we're still early at 44 million. Although after a run like this in a market like this, I would like to see us come back. Sub 30 would probably be my zone where I start hammering. But I don't want to I'm not here to sell you on a chart. I'm here to sell you on the vision. And I still want to sell myself on the vision, so what it's worth. Like I'm saying that I'm going to buy if we get this dip. I still need to prove it out. I would love to have a conversation with them. But let's talk about it, guys. You're gonna have to buckle in because it's not a short thread, but there's a lot to cover and it's all pretty exciting. Abe, we got you with a Viva stream. Hopefully soon. They're working on some stuff. Once they get the rollout, we want to get them on. But they're focused on that right now. So thanks for the suggestion. Josh, you ready? All right, let's do it. Surge is the end game of internet capital markets and launchpads. And again, shout out Zinc for bull posting this. Shout out Zinc for positioning. What a great play with size. I'm just going to read this. Have you ever seen a crypto project launched by a company that's partnered with Google, Meta, OpenAI, AWS, NVIDIA, IBM, Solana, Circle, Fetch AI, Cloudflare, 11 Labs, and even the New York Stock Exchange, all while sitting around a $40 million market cap? Meet Surge, the end game of launchpads going live this week. Let's dive into why I'm betting $350,000 on this launchpad, which I believe right now is more like $700,000 at least. What Surge actually is. Surge is the first real AI native launchpad and funding rail built for real AI founders. Remember the AI mania we experienced last year? Imagine that, but with hundreds of thousands of top AI founders who are doxxed, building in public, not building slop, and receiving funding from the top AI companies in the world. This is different from your typical launchpad and incubator. Surge isn't just a launchpad. It's the infrastructure layer for internet capital markets. AI accelerates execution. Web3 provides transparent, global, instant liquidity capital formation. Together, Surge turns startup funding from a gated VC process into a permissionless, reputation-weighted market. The founder, Paul Szek. There he is. There's a nice close-up photo of him. Butchered his name. I'm sorry. That's the NYSE invited Powell to the NYSE Wired, the future of AI. This founder is fundamentally the absolute best founder candidate in the entire world for a launchpad. I'll prove it. He's the founder of Lab AI, 230,000 plus AI developers, New Native, Enterprise AI, Gaia, Saudi-backed AI accelerator. He's worked with and partnered with nearly every major AI company on the planet. Meta, Google, OpenAI, AWS, NVIDIA, IBM, Anthropic, Fetch AI, Mistral AI, Circle, Cloudflare, 11 Labs, and many more. Not even the biggest AI projects in crypto can say they have these partnerships. And you can see here's the image. A bunch of their partnerships. They have $1 million startup challenge series powered by Surge. Launch and fund your own startup here from February 6th through 14th. San Francisco plus online. AI meets robotics. $1 million prize pool. We're seeing the big prize pools. $3 million from Pump Fund. Well, here's $1 million from Surge right here for real AI builders in San Francisco or online. He's been featured by the NYSE on stage with world leaders, running the world's largest AI hackathons, even visited by Bill Gates in Mania during GAIAS expansion. This is not your typical founder. This is an enterprise-grade founder that some of the smartest people in the world trust with their money and partnerships. These aren't one-off events. Powell runs 200 plus hackathons per year, year-round, often multiple per month. Each have thousands of participants and multiple tier 1 tech sponsors. Again, your Google, OpenAI, Anthropic, Meta, NVIDIA, IBM. And huge prize pools of up to $1 million. This gives Surge something that every other launchpad fails to have: unlimited, high-quality deal flow. Ding, 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 what I'm talking about. We'll see the best launches that we've ever seen come from Surge, and they won't be a fluke. Believe, MetaDAO, Pump, and every other launchpad has a huge problem. Not enough builders. Surge has too many builders. There you go. Got a picture of them. We see Bill Gates here. One of these is Powell. One of these is some Saudi guy, I would imagine. Bill Gates visiting Powell's office for the Lab and New Native AI. Powell has already operated at which is wild, by the way, that Bill Gates is meeting up at his office to talk about his projects. Powell has already operated at the $1 billion level. Powell's company, Gaia, was a government-backed AI accelerator in Saudi Arabia. Key facts: it was backed by Saudi MCIT plus SDAIA, which is insane. 200 plus hackathons, 19,000 teams, 4,000 prototypes, multi-$100 million of funding pool. At Leap 24, the Saudi Minister of Communications publicly announced a plan to take AI to $1 billion. This is sovereign level validation. Why does it matter? Surge is gay AI rebuilt on crypto rails without the government bureaucracy that slowed gay AI down. Alpha. I mean, that's a great way to put it. Same network, same founder, same builder engine, now powered by Web3. Gay AI didn't fail because of talent or execution. It failed because traditional funding rails are broken. Lab AI is the biggest AI builder funnel in the world. Okay, so they have all the AIs. You can see here. They got agentic commerce on Arc, which is an Arc hackathon they're doing right now. It's live, January 9th through 23rd. Here's the Surge one with $1 million. I mean, there's so many you guys can see, right? So pretty cool stuff. Great pipeline. Again, they have all the best builders coming and participating. A very small snippet of hundreds of hackathons hosted by LabLab, Surge parent company / partnered, ran by Powell. Powell's AI ecosystem is unmatched. 230,000 plus developers, 19,000 team, thousands of prototype builds, hundreds of AI projects launched, 130 tech partners, one of, if not the world's largest AI hackathons, sponsored and trusted by every big name in AI you can think of. Surge has guaranteed deal flow built in. Hackathon winners don't just get prize money, they now get direct path to on-chain funding through Surge instead of dying in a VC inboxes. The funding problem, why Surge exists. Take a breather, make sure everyone's still with me. Okay. The funding problem, why Surge exists. Time between rounds continues to lengthen. So we can see here, 2014, 2015, seed, Series A, Series B, Series C, and D+, so on and so forth. You can see the time it's taking for each of these has gone from 1.5 years, 1.7, 2 for all of these. So it's increased. Innovation outpaced finance. Capital rails haven't evolved in 30 years. True. Founders wait 8 to 10 years for liquidity. Only 0.5% ever reach VC funding. Retail can't move billions instantly. Retail can move billions instantly. AI founders can't access that capital. Bureaucracies block innovation. This is why gay AI was put on the back burner. Surge solves this. Global capacity, instant accessibility for any AI founder anywhere in a fair, transparent on-chain system. Retail becomes the VC. Founders get speed. Anyone can get exposure. Surge for companies. Days to funding versus months. For investors, no geographical restrictions, access to global investor base, maintain regulatory compliance, liquid secondary market, real-time valuation transparency. For investors, access to pre-seed global deals, diversification beyond traditional markets, earlier liquidity options, transparent real-time valuations, lower minimum investments, direct participation in value creation. This is the internet capital market, that idea that Powell has been preaching. This is the Surge thesis. If you've been tapped into the market recently, you've definitely seen Gas Token created by the legendary software developer Steve Yeaga. If you read his article about his discovery of Gas Token, now compared it to finding Amazon in 1998 and Bitcoin in 2010, you might see some similarities here. Steve Yeaga has been the same thesis as Powell. The new funding rails of ICM is the future of funding. You can see traditional capital markets systematically exclude the world's best opportunities. 1% of entrepreneurs ever meet a VC investor. 75% of VC funding goes to just 3 metro areas: San Francisco, NYC, and Boston. Okay, so I actually had my number, I think, a little off here, but you get the point. Traditional VC barriers, school/network, blah, blah, longer funding cycles. And then you can see a thread by Powell basically on the disconnect is growing. The market can push 1 billion to memes overnight, but the same system makes a founder wait years to raise 50K. Innovation outpaced finance, and it's time to realign them. We don't need more capital. We need better rails, transparency, programmable, open, a world where value flows to builders, not middlemen, where finance becomes democratized, fast, fair, and a global by default. When access opens, everything changes. Communities rise, builders thrive, and ideas once trapped in pitch decks start shaping into real world. That's where my focus is now, building infrastructure for the next era of innovation, a new internet capital market where founders can launch, fund, and scale ideas at light speed. The ecosystem and token flywheel. So they have a few things that are interesting that I think you guys should pay attention to. They have reputation scores, something we've been seeing a lot of recently. So reputation and IP bank, recycle knowledge and proof of execution back into the system. Hackathons, surface early AI projects, AI Foundry, accelerate them into MVPs. And also, I think they're doing the incubation here. So they're not just finding projects and letting them deal with everything themselves. They're adding their input and advice. Launch protocols, proven, provide transparent liquid capital formation. Partners in incubation, scale them globally. So that's the ecosystem flywheel is what they call it. LabLab hosts some of the biggest hackathons, blah, blah, blah. We've already talked about this. AI Foundry accelerates them. Surge provides transparent liquid capital formation. Okay, so here's how it comes together. LabLab hosts some of the biggest hackathons in the world with better partnerships than any competitor can boast. The AI Foundry accelerates them. So you get talent, accelerated talent, capital for that talent. Surge provides transparent liquid capital formation. Incubation partners help scale them globally using their technology, proof of execution, knowledge, and successful results in the loop, strengthening and repeating. Every cycle strengthens the network. More founders, more launches, more liquidity, more IP, more reputational data. The longer Surge operates, the faster and more efficient it can create, fund, and scale the next generation of AI native ventures. The Surge ecosystem is a closed loop market for innovation, for ideal discovery, blah, 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 blah. I want to keep this kind of quicker for you guys because I'm not sure how much I have left. This is just the ecosystem flywheel. The token has a value accrual flywheel as well, earning revenue from launches, trading fees, and more to be announced. So again, hopefully there's real utility for these tokens. Fixing the biggest issue of the new launches. And again, here's the fair score. Here's the thing we saw with a couple projects we've been following here where they have like a reputational score. You add your name, your user ID, you can KYC. It gives you your score, wallet, Twitter, staking, socials. Everything's here to kind of give you a score. Fair launch. Surge Score is a reputation-weighted allocation system based on on-chain history, social presence, connected wallets, Surge staking. Bots and multi-wallet farmers get compressed. Good actors and participants of the ecosystem get rewarded. Surge launch adds founder identity plus optional KYC, verified socials, embedded white paper and DEX, team transparency, hackathon plus incubation badges, founder buybacks plus on-chain lockup. The Surge graduation standard. Bonding curve is greater than seamless DEX migrations. Founders lock tokens with public cliffs plus vesting. No ghost supply, no VC dumps, no hidden bundles, no surprises. Stealing the entire market, 3 launch tier system, cross-chain, lower fees. Introducing the 3-tier launch protocol on Surge. Fair launch. Open permissionlessly and transparent, most accessible path into internet capital markets. Ignition for MVP or early market teams. Coordinated raise with validated transaction. And gated. These are the different types of launches they offer here. So DEX launches, ignition for MVP or early market teams, coordinated raise with validation. So they do raise, and then gated exclusive entry for proven teams, compliance, aligned, performative verification, structured allocation. I thought this was really interesting. So they're going to have a democratized side with the fair launch. They're going to have a verified side where it's maybe people that they're working with specifically incubating them. And then they have an ignition, which maybe ignition side, which kind of, I think, just gets the check market, the stamp of approval, but they're not working with them directly. Yep, so multiple formats there. We talked about fair launch, day 0 builders, open bonding curve, ignition, structured public sale for scaling startups, gated compliance ready, reputation driven launches for serious teams and institutions. On top of this, Surge is a cross-chain, allowing launches across Solana, Base, and BSC. I think that's pretty cool. This means bigger liquidity surface area, different investors, populations, startups choose their desired home base. Surge becomes the chain agnostic capital rail system. Fees are low, 1% buy, 1% sell. We see a 1-1. We see 2% for bags. I think 2% was Believe. They're going to do a 1-1. The institutional arm. Look, there's a lot, guys. I told you there was a lot going into this, but Josh, how are we feeling so far?
I think we are glazing over here. This is wild, though. I did tweet at the guys there and see if we could get them on. This is good. We're evolving. We're evolving ICM for sure.
Well, I don't want to glaze over everyone, so maybe I'll speed run the rest of this just to get it done. But it is really long, so no need to keep reading this too much. But they do have an institutional arm. They're welcoming Dr. Peter as a strategic advisor to Serve, who is a former chief investment officer at BlackRock and Barclays. He scaled AUM from 5 billion to 40 billion in the US and 80 billion globally. So this is their guy for the investment institutional arm.
Could you imagine how much money like you'd make if you created that much value?
Bro, I mean, look, we're operating at levels to it. This is BlackRock and Barclays guy. $5 billion to $40 billion in the US and 80 billion globally. Look, this guy knows investments. He knows money. He knows all that stuff. So really cool there. We talked about this. This is the AIX crypto thesis, guaranteed convergence. So again, why it's the best bet? You got the real founders, real product, real teams building in public, real institutions and backing, real capital rails. Here are the tokenomics. It looks like the foundation team here gets 5%. It looks like the core team here gets 10%. Looks like 40% for liquidity, 40% for community ecosystem, 5% liquidity. So that's how the Surge token works. So we see tradable right now. I guess there's probably 40%. I got to look into vestings and locks. So that Surge token that's trading at 44 million that we talked about. These are the tokenomics. Staking access to launches. So I guess you can, the launch fees are better for stakers. So there's going to be some Surge token utility here. More launches equal more demand equals higher staking equals lower float equals strong price reflexivity. Yeah. So you can see $1 billion founder pedigree, massive real world partnerships, the largest AI builder funder in the world, guaranteed deal flow, real products with sensible tokenomics and strong token design, perfect timing for AI and Web3, no true competitors come close, currently sitting around 25 million market cap. Final thoughts summarized. Yeah. I think we got the gist of it, but great thread by Zinc. And yeah, I don't know, man. Surge is pretty interesting. Great founder.
This is the home run. This is a potential home run in terms of the stuff coming out of this. Wild. That's real. This is real capital. Like this is the real freaking capital. Like you want the real money? This is the big boys. This is the sovereigns. This is the real deal for sure.
So again, they have this pipeline. So the value, I guess, comes for the token. Surge token holder flywheel, and maybe this is, I don't think this, it sounds like there's gonna be more coming to it based on what that thread said, but it has the gated launches, which give access to Surge holders who have those priority accesses. So you stake your Surge, get access to gated launches, make money, so on and so forth. And then the fair launch revenue also goes towards buying back the token. So here's a decentralized one. Looks like the revenue from that goes to buying back the token as well. Interesting. So yeah, I don't know. I think this is fascinating. We don't need to harp on this much more, but Surge platform is almost ready, 99% done. Base, BNB, Solana, huge partnerships, successful past companies, successful CEO, massive pipeline. It's in the AI niche. I don't know, dude. I don't know what more you could really want from this other than like if the token maybe represents some equity or something, but it seems like all the fees are going back towards the token anyway. So I don't know. That's my take. I'll tab back over to the Surge launchpad here. 44 million, assuming 40% of that's in circulation. We're sitting at, closer to $100 million market cap for this. Fully diluted. So look, sorry guys. Sorry I was reading the monologue there, but I thought it was a lot of really good information. So I just wanted to cover it. But if you stayed and listened, thank you.
Dude, I think we covered a lot today. We have so many clips that we got to get Ashesh going on. But yeah, any final ones that you want to cover? Otherwise, we're back at it tomorrow, bro. We're back at it tomorrow.
Back at it tomorrow, Josh. Okay. No, I think that's good, guys. We covered a lot. We covered bags, we covered tariffs, we covered macro, we covered Surge, we covered Rain, we covered Moby. Yeah, we got a lot of clips. Our clipper is going to be working hard, guys. So nonetheless, thanks for joining in.
Life okay. Like okay. Yeah. And subscribe. Like and subscribe from YouTube, please.
We're at that point. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah,
Peace.
we're influencers.
We're influencers. All right, guys. Tons of
All right,
good
see you
stuff
guys.
there. We'll
All right.
be seeing you soon. Peace.
Yeah, love you.